Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Henry Speedy Cole Ninja, and today I am joined by.
My name is Adam. I am Monsieur, backup mid laner and backup support for the team.
Yeah, so we'll be here to give us some good insight today. We are going to hop right into the draft here. So we have Valpo Esports taking on Arkansas State Black in the NECC Challenger Playoff Quarterfinals. So really excited for this one. First playoff game of the semester. And we're starting off with Valpo on blue side, picking up Zach. So Zach and Super Bear are kind of synonymous with each other. Really good Zach player, and really excited to see that one go through.
I have to agree, and specifically looking at the bands of Draven, Nico, and Wukong on Vapo Esports side, really realizing, especially with how strong Nico and Draven have been, really trying to help negate them for the other side. But we do see the Sedge in response to Zach, so that'll be very interesting to see. But it also did look like Arkansas really wanted to focus all those bans on the mid laner Jakimbo with both Ari, Talia, and Hui.
Yeah, so the Kaisa hyper carry bot lane pick here. Looking at both of these teams, Arkansas State has a little bit more focus. They have a master and grandmaster bot support, silver mid laner, and then able to top jungle. Where Valpo Esports is a little more well-rounded, highest ranked player in the mid lane at master. So I think the bot lane will probably be the most favored going into this for Arkansas, and then mid lane most favored going into this for Valpo. So gonna be really excited to see how our bot support duo matches up with theirs. But I think that's going to be the lane to watch and a big emphasis on this match. But kind of the goal win con for Valpo is, if we can keep that lane even winning, then we'll be in a really good spot to win this series.
And I was going to say, just as we were talking about Valpo's ADC support, we see the Jinx and Braum. Going to be really interesting to see. Good defensive choice from Braum, with in addition to Zach. The team's going to have a really good front line and also hopefully be able to disengage. We do see from Arkansas side, though, counter picking with a Glosk. So team fights are going to be very interesting, especially with Gloss's ult, but Braum also can counter the ult, if I'm remembering
Yeah,
correctly. So
yeah. So Renato Glask has really good disengage, but also does have the ability to roam a little bit, being a very solid support player. Wouldn't be surprised if we see them kind of going up for those early Void Grubs, Rift Herald, stuff like that. But also kind of helping out their mid lane. But I really think the focus for Arkansas is going to be playing around this spot. As you see the bans coming out from Valpo, you have Draven, which, their ADC plays a lot of Draven and solo queue, but also the Nico and Wukong, which are really good dive champions. So I think they really like to play dive, like a dive team comp around that bot lane. So I think that's something Valpo is definitely going to be watching out for, and hopefully. Super Bear's aware of that, either looking for counter ganks in bot lane or other strategy on the flip side. Could just try and get mid and top as far ahead as possible, because if we can be farther ahead in those lanes than they are in the bot lane, then that's another win con for Valpo.
And the final two bands for each side have been chosen, both seeing the Syndra and the Gragas on Velpa Esports side, really just trying to make sure that they're not going to have any too weird of crazy alts, especially both Syndra's Execute and Gray's Barrel, really liking to cause some problems, but also getting rid of that Twisted Fate and Atrax. Atrax has just been a really solid pick recently. Specifically, I think for our top laner, they've been amazing with Atrax, and obviously Twisted Fate has gone through his round of highs and lows, still sitting very solid in the team lineup, but just getting rid of that for Jakimba, making his life a little bit harder. But he sees that he's got against an Oriana up
Yeah,
against him.
able to get the counter pick for mid. You see the Oriana for Arkansas really rounding out this huge team fighting comp. That's really going to be the goal for them post 25, 30 minutes fighting around that Baron. Looking for those big team fights. They have a very strong team fight team. But also the Vel'Koz for Valpo Esports, super interesting. New patch came out today, so maybe Vel'Koz got a little bump up or has been strong, not super familiar. Did see big nerfs to Senna, along with
Boulder,
Smolder. Rek'Sai got fixed. And then there is a champion that's disabled for this patch. Let me take a quick peek.
I think it's the Azir bug right
Azir,
now.
correct. Which is someone we probably wouldn't see today regardless. And then we do have a Gnar rounding out the comp. And then they are going full team fight with the Malphite, having the Oriana ball on the Malphite ult. With the Sejuani ult, with the Renata Glass ult, is an insane team fights when they have the ultimate up. But might opt to go for a split pusher here. hovering some different characters. We'll see what they end up with.
Got a few
I,
seconds
I think
left,
it's probably going to be the Malphite. That really makes sense with their team comp. And we do
and
get
it
the Malphite locked
is.
in. So, thoughts on Valpo Esports team comp here?
Ooh, I think this team count's definitely going to take a while to get online, specifically the Jinx Braum. But I do think that Vel'Koz, especially hitting what will be first item spike, hopefully around 12, 13 minutes, right around the time of um, a good timing of Rift and second drag. It'll be very interesting to see for these first. It'll be very interesting to see. It's probably going to be a little bit slower just to start with, just because we don't have anything too crazy. I do hope that the bot lane watches out for the not a glass bailout, just because, as you said earlier, with just the rankings of the players, obviously that it's a Grandmaster Master bot lane from Arkansas State, just making sure that they're being really conscious and not trying to go in for dives too strongly, just because glass can obviously bail them out, and a little bit of extra time, especially on an ADC, is usually all it takes to get a kill.
Yeah, I think Arkansas State's team comp is very straightforward, like what their kind of goal is. Valpo, honestly, kind of looking for a dive comp. With that Zach and Nar, gonna want to be trying to get on that Kaisa, and not really. They could fight front to back with the Jinx and the DPS and having the Braum being able to peel for him. But also a chance with Meganar and with Zac to dive this Kaisa. And if you're able to get a like CC locked up on them, could be really good. But at the same time, you're going to have that Malphite Orianna ult that's going to be absolutely destroying our backline. So it's going to be tough for Jinx to stay safe here. And same with Kaisa. So I think these ADCs are going to have a rough time. Luckily, I feel like the peel's really solid though for Kaisa having the bailout. Zach once again can play peel or can play dive. Zach having four or three CC abilities. So yeah, I said four, not all four of them, but a ton of CC. I really think the Vel'Koz is the pick that like trips me up for Valpo Esports, just because it's kind of a poke champion, does do a lot of damage, but I'm not super familiar with the current meta, so I can't really say like I hate the pick or anything, just because like I don't know, they know best for sure. Got Coach Blade out there coaching them up, and Justin Jakimbo is definitely one of our better players, so I'll trust his opinion on this one.
He's shown us some craziness in both on and off streams throughout the past season. It's been a pleasure to absolutely see him go crazy. But I think that the Vel'Koz especially might work, especially against the Sejuani, just trying to be, especially if he lands the abilities, making that ult just melt through all armor, just melt do true damage, and especially against the Malphite, as long as he's able to get a few pokes in and just ults, I do see that these tanks defenses are going to probably get shredded pretty quickly, which is I think is what he was looking at, especially if the Jinx gets locked down a little bit more by
Well,
some CC.
really excited for this one. We are going to head into a short break, but stay tuned because this is a huge match. First playoff game of the year for Valpo Esports. NECC Challenger Division quarterfinals. Valpo Esports versus Arkansas State Black. And we will be right back after spectator delay. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopping right into this one. Got Valpo Esports versus Arkansas State Black. Looking like we will start off with a 5 point for both teams. We have Valpo in blue here on blue side and Arkansas State in red.
I was gonna say, let's looking at the matches. What do you think is gonna be? What do you think is gonna be the? You were talking earlier about the points to watch out for. What do we think we're gonna see in the first few minutes of?
So at the beginning of the game, I kind of like to look at these summoner spells, look at the items. Items are traditional across the board. Dorn's items across the board, support items. And then opting for the defensive, tanky items on both junglers, not a big surprise. Biggest summoner spell of note is the Ghost on Vel'Koz instead of the Flash. Um, that is a bold decision. I don't hate it. Just keeping in mind that if you get ganked, you don't really have that flash to bail you out. And Vel'Koz is a pretty immobile champion, so we do see him getting some poke down early. Has that first strike, building up a little bit of a gold. But I think the lane to watch to answer your question is gonna be bot lane. If Valpo Esports can hang in there, um, even if they're winning, but honestly, a win for Valpo Esports in the bot lane would be going even. If they're able to do that, that would be huge. Um, Another lane to watch here is this mid lane. Really hoping that Vel'Koz Jakimbo can really take off and kind of pull away this game, just because they kind of do have that rank disparity there. And hopefully, I think we'll see Super Bear playing around that mid lane a lot too.
I was gonna say, looking at obviously some light action. You were saying earlier, Kimba already getting some good Q presses against the Oriana. All right, and Velvo does take the level lead, and we're gonna see how they're gonna capitalize on it. Bromtharin have some damage, but I'm respecting it. But I was gonna say, looking at Oriana. Oriana's already looking about half health, but full mana. But again, a little too early to tell, and a little too early without the kill power.
Yeah, Dreadful and Dikembe able to get that first push going in the bot lane. Do hit level 2 first, forcing Arkansas State to back off there. So really big by them. Dikembe playing starting support, has been doing that for the past couple weeks. Probably are used to seeing him in the booth here with me. But yeah, and we do see a gank coming mid for Zach. Doesn't have a super long range on E, won't be able to get the knockup. Does have Q, will be able to bounce him in. Drops low, flash comes out. No ignite. Yeah, no ignite on our mid laner there. No combat sums other than the ghosts, so won't see too much. But Meganark coming out here will get a good trade in.
I was gonna say securing the wave and already making Vel'Koz go positive. It was in a CS lead, but also Oriana gets it back.
Oh, and he TPs to the wrong turret here, maybe. We'll let the auto lock go back. But looking at the jungler's routes here, we do see Sejuani starting on top side on his red buff, going for a full clear here. And then Super Bear opting to go for red buff, get his 3 camp, hit level 3, gank mid, and now kind of has a smooth transition into his top jungle. So really like that from Valpo, but got to be careful because Sejuani probably had this plan before the game even started. He's going to full clear and then look for a bot gank here. However, Valpo is pretty healthy here, so not too worried about it at the moment.
Agreed, Velpo not only healthy but also with a good wave state. They're being somewhat pushed under tower. Obviously, would not be as not as helpful later.
Yeah.
But right now, tower does way too much damage to have Sedge even think about it. But we do see some pings mid lane. Oriana does realize that. I think Zach is just trying to check the jungle to see if it was done for a full clear.
Yep, did get spotted out on a ward there. Do see Sejuani back. Bot lane's too healthy there. Doing a good job so far in the CS department as this wave is shoving in, so they are practically even though it does say they are down 5 CS. Top lane doing a good job so far. Very even, slow game, other than the mid lane having both summoner spells down. So hopefully we'll get a repeat gank in the next 3-4 minutes while that flash is still down.
I was gonna say, yeah, just looking at it, the only 2 summons that have been used so far were the 2 of Ori's. So if Ori's caught in another spot, she doesn't really have a way to get out. Meganar up again, but this time instead of the health lead, a little bit of a health disparity. So we're just gonna hope to watch as Steamroller just plays it safe for a little bit.
Valpo, a lot of times we've watched their League of Legends team play. They really do like to play for this like kind of late game scaling team. And I do think that actually will go to their favor if they are kind of if they're going to have this slower paced game, 30 minutes plus. The Jinx scales really hard, so does the Vel'Koz, so does the Zac. where Kaisa kind of peaks in the mid game, falls up a little bit later in the game. And Arkansas State's team fight is going to be really scary and strong in that 20 to 25 minute range, so got to be really careful for that. But you do like to see Zach and Velkaz on this objective here on the Void Grubs, able to take the first one, and you do see Sejuani looking to start up this dragon. So we'll look so far like we are trading first objectives here.
I was gonna say just probably a quick response to this. Obviously, Jakimbo just had way too strong of a presence for Oriana to even be able to think about trying to make it into a 2v2. We do see some more skirmishing up in the top side, but it is probably just looking like that for right now. Sejuani still looking on the map. Looks like she's trying to do drag, but also can't be sure. And then Oriana roaming down just probably helped to secure that dragon. So, as you said earlier, Valpo takes the 3 Void Grubs at the cost of the first dragon.
Do have some level 6s coming out in the top and mid lane here, so keep an eye out for that. Top lane will probably be slow for the rest of the game considering the Warden's Mail purchase from Malphite, so probably won't see too much action up there. And there have been no turret plates taken so far this game. So really you see this 300 gold lead on the side of Valpo, really kind of just from CS lead, farming well, and no plates really done. Take a quick peek at the gold. We do have our biggest lead in the mid lane, that 300 gold. I mean, that's where the lead's coming from right now, with about a 10 CS lead.
I was gonna say, as we were saying earlier, even though Valpo Esports was looking like that bot was gonna have to be the side to play the safest with, we see CS basically tied,
Oh,
and for Valpo Esports, that basically is a win for them at this point. Going even is winning. We did see the Meganar looks like
yeah.
missed their ability a little bit.
I mean, fighting that huge venue wave. Anyways, let's get into this bot lane fight. We do have Sejuani coming down, able to get the flash knock up onto the Jinx, but no one dies yet. Sejuani does have ultimate still available, so might look for a regank here on the dive, knowing that Jinx does have that flash down. Looks like they're staying down there. Zach is on top side. Ops to counter jungle, can't get down there in time. TP's down from both top and bot lane, or top and mid lane for Valpo, so this dive will not have any help coming in. See what Valpo's able to do. Yeah, coming out on Renata. First blood goes onto the Kaisa, unfortunately, for Valpo. And a double kill for Kaisa. Very well executed dive, unfortunately. Valpo knew it was coming, but TPs were down. Zach opted to counter jungle. Couldn't really get down there in time. So you have these very low remaining members in the bot lane. Velkaz staying in mid lane, not really able to rotate down in time. And they will also get plates off of here. So Kaisa with a very good early lead provided by that very good dive. It was executed very well.
It was, and just realizing that at this point, Dreadful and Kimbe will have to just are going to be playing a little bit of a deficit. It looks like my words just came back to bite him as soon as I said the Valpo is versus trading even. Unfortunately, it looked like went a little wrong, but hopefully it looks like we do have Zach in the top side. Zach will think maybe depending if he's saying something, but he's just going to take the back anyways.
Yeah, can't really look at a dive against a full health Malphite already with some items built there. Looking at the items, see a pretty big deficit in the bot lane for Valpo. Kaisa already has that Kraken Slayer completed, while Jinx only has the Noon Quiver. So, I mean, yeah, you're looking at an 800 gold lead there for bot lane for the side of Arkansas State. So not the start you wanted to see if you're a Valpo fan. But we will get some wards cleared out as we do have the objectives coming up soon. Again, we have Dragon in 2 minutes, Void Grubs in 35 seconds. So we'll see what Valpo decides to do there. The big thing is they do have mid prio, so I think the safest option will be playing for these Void Grubs. And then they'll also have a chance to contest Dragon if they want to. Probably won't be able to, considering just their ADC advantage at the moment.
Agreed, and also, especially since Valpo was able to secure the first half of Void Grubs, it really does give them a little bit of a break, realizing that if they're able to get 6, Void Grubs are just Void Grubs are just so impactful, especially just because of the sheer amount of DOT damage and true damage that they do. It's surprising how quickly.
Ooh.
But we're gonna see some action here, and it looks like we might, but we see the ult. No, we don't see the ult come out.
We have the ult coming out. Sejuani will die. Bailout not coming out in time. But that is a huge win, even though it's a 1-for-1 trade. One, because the Braum did end up dying, so a 2-for-1. But I was going to say advantageous trade for Arkansas State Black regardless, because you do have Valpo's ADC missing out on 2 big waves coming in. miss out on the big wave that was already stacked up and the wave that just crashed. Will probably get another plate as well, so this lead kind of getting extended in the bot lane. I think that's really good timing for them just because they knew Void Grubs was coming up. They knew Valpo wanted to focus on that. And I'm not sure if they saw Zach on Vision at any point, but they did have good jungle tracking there. So Sejuani along with Arkansas State's bot lane doing a great job coordinating that dive once again, knowing that Jinx's flash was still down. So unfortunate for Valpo, but do only have a 800 gold lead for the side of Arkansas State. So you do have that huge gold lead in the bot lane, up to 1300 now. But Valpo is up quite a bit in the mid lane and the jungle. The jungle with a 30 CS disparity.
And I was gonna say, even looking at the gold lead went from 1300 back to just slight over 600.
Arkansas State getting spotted out here. Bringing down Sejuani once again. This time Valpo is playing very far back, but this dragon is coming up, and that's going to be their focus here.
I was gonna say, it looks like Valpo and now that Zach is within range of more assistance, it's probably going to be start of a team fight. We did see the Gloss Call come in, so it's not going to be available. Valpo does have ults coming in for this, except for the Jakimbo. So an engage is, while unlikely, was possible, but they decided to play it safe, and we see a Cloud Soul coming up. What do you think? What do you think about Soul for this game, Henry?
I think Cloud Soul's typically like an impactful dragon, but because of the ultimate cooldown on this one specifically for Arkansas State, they have some really good ultimates that, if they're on a shorter cooldown, would be very good for them. So Valpo definitely wants to secure the third, fourth drag here. At least just kind of avoid a soul. They do have those Void Grab, 6 Void Grubs. So I mean, 2 drags to 6 Void Grubs. Honestly, I kind of prefer to be the team with the Void Grubs. So you do see a little engage here. Do have Kaisa utilize flash already. Do have the Renata ult, but it is going to be a 4v3 as Orianna is late with the rotate. Vel'Koz spitting out a lot of damage. Does get his ult interrupted.
The ult does get canceled. All right.
Sejuani's still working away on this Vel'Koz, but going to die to Dreadful here. Really big kill for Dreadful, able to kind of get back in the game, and the slow from the Vel'Koz ability.
And it's going to be happening again.
Orianna does have ultimate, got to be careful here. And Valpo, a 3 for nothing, as you do see Malphite get a solo kill in the top lane, but that will even out the game for Valpo, actually taking a 500 gold lead, so big fight for them. Looked like Arkansas State kind of overstayed their welcome after the dragon was taken. And yeah, Sejuani, Renata, and Orianna going down.
Valpo Esports easily be able to take it, and it looks like we still got about 50 seconds left on plating. We're going to see the final, if both Valpo Esports and both the mid and bot side are able to take a plate. And because of those Void Grubs, it actually, Esports takes another plating from top, and it also looks like they were able to take one from bottom. So Void Grubs already making them an extra 330 gold, and from here, all the extra DOT damage will just be more helpful.
Yeah, so Valpo out to 1,000 gold lead. Big thing to note, Kaisa does have flash down, does have that shutdown gold up. Up only about 10 CS, considering all the waves that Dreadful missed. Honestly, very good on him to keep that even CS. And that 3 kills is going to give her a lot of gold. Already has the Kraken Slayer complete for probably 5 minutes by now, while Jinx is still working on filling out that item. But do have Zach here. Will get spotted out. Will potentially be a 3v3 breaking out here in the bot lane. Looks like Arkansas State is going to disengage. Zach maybe going a little far. Does miss Q. Sejuani going to get stuck in the traps. Gets pulled back in. Does decide to ult. Valpo might want to back up here. Zach dropping pretty low. Do have Vel'Koz coming in for a counter gank though. Could be huge.
Oh!
Trying to jump back in. Gets the flash out. Renata ult. Gets missed.
Renata ult hits the minions, and with that was real. That was making the most out of an interesting situation. Interested to see if the Zach engage had hit the Reglask, I think we would have at least seen a kill there. But at the very least, good to see Valpo Esports not taking death because of the result of that.
Yeah, one thing to note is Zach still has passive up here on this E. Does not have ultimate, won't be able to find much, but we did see a lot of summoners, a lot of ultimate abilities coming out in the bot lane, but nothing actually occurring or happening from it.
Yeah, just trying to take a quick look. Valpo Esports took two sums in that last fight. Dreadful's flash and Kimby's heal, but we did see Glass heal flash, and we saw Sedge's flash along with two ultimates. So all in all, a successful trade for Valpo Esports. But obviously, the team's rotating, looking into C for this for the Rift Herald. And with that, just another flash from the Oriana. Vel'Koz really trying to solidify that he is the mid lane. And we see the TP coming from Vel'Koz to assist with this team fight.
Oh, another
Um,
TP.
TP from Oriana, and it's going to be a full 5v5. Oh, that Malphite ult was really strong, and then the Oriana ult a tiny bit late,
Catches
but
two,
still
though.
able to be helpful.
Gnar going to be on the back line. Doesn't have Mega built up yet. No kills yet so far. Team looks like they're turning on Gnar. Gnar able to get a two-man ult. Red team does defeat the Rift Herald, and Gnar does pass away, but they will get a trade kill on Sejuani. Jinx will get excited here, able to get the knock-up onto the Renata Glass.
They get excited. Might be enough for the second kill, and it is.
We'll get a stun. Ori in a really bad spot here. Probably will get swooped up as well. Does have the Baron and power to recall, but will get killed.
That's a trip.
And that is a 3-for-1 for Valpo Esports. So you saw Gnar playing on the back line a little bit. Does get turned on because they were playing a little bit split, but was able to hit the ult, was able to stun him up, get him low enough for Valpo to kind of sweep through that team fight. Kaisa does pick up a kill, going 4-0. Do want to try and get that shutdown eventually, but only a 150 gold shutdown. If you can just keep her out of the fight, won't be super impactful. And that Oriana ultimate not doing a whole lot. Only catching the frontline members of Valpo Esports, but do have this third dragon coming up, which would be huge for Valpo if they're able to contest this one. Do have Oriana coming in late. Keep in mind TP's down for both teams other than Gnar here using that last fight. Valpo going to have a tough time going in, but Zach decides to jump in.
Actually, he has it, and it is going to end up being a 5v4. It's going to be a smite battle.
Oh, and he steals it.
Huge
Huge
oh,
snarl. Oh my goodness, they're going to
oh my god!
A 3-man Oriana ult, but does nothing. So they had the Gnar ultimate, getting 4 members on top of the Vel'Koz ultimate, doing so much damage. You have 2 kills for Vel'Koz, 5 kills for Jinx there. And wow, I mean, that was great execution. Failed smite came out too early for Sejuani, but Zach able to clean it up, get the final kill. Absolute phenomenal execution for Valpo Esports, and will use these Void Grubs to get the first turret in mid lane.
I was gonna say, just even if we look back on it for even just a little bit, Zach going in originally was going to be he was obviously a little bit ahead of the team, but that actually turned out to be exactly what they needed as they started to focus. They didn't focus on Dragon, and their Sejuani smited a little early, making, I think the Sejuani, I think, just thought that they had full pet because they smited at around 1300, and so smited down to 500, and so Zach was able to take advantage of the fact that because of all the ganks that Sedge has given bot lane, Sedge actually was able to finish their smite in time. But the absolutely enormous ult from Jakimbo, but then also immediately getting shut down by the Renata Glass ult. If we would have, I think if the Oriana had come with them right at the start, I think that fight would have turned into a very different story.
Yeah, I think the damage was already done. But going back on that point where you're talking about Zach kind of farming meanwhile while Sejuani, but we do have a ton of damage coming out here. We'll be able to find a kill with the Flash and Mega Gnar. Solo kill on this Oriana. Gnar fighting back. Steamroller able to find a solo kill for himself. But what I was going to say is Zach was kind of farming up this whole time. So he did jump in a little early into that Dragon Pit. But because of all this extra income he had from farming, he was able to live for a really long time. As we do see Zach jump in, won't be able to knock up anyone. Does get the Q2 on the other one. Does not have passive. Excuse me. Vel'Koz able to find a kill on the Sejuani. Do have the TP coming in. Mega Gnar will be up soon. Renata Glass Cult won't do too much. Valpo with another 2-1.
I was gonna say Valpo Esports really capitalizing on the fact of you can't win $1 million in a single day. Just taking small trades here and there has led to a huge bonus. We were obviously knowing that mid lane was gonna be ahead for this whole game, and even with that quick combo and the ult from Dreadful just absolutely executing the Oriana. Valpo Esports right now has a really good opportunity, and with Baron up in a grand total of 5 seconds, looks like Valpo Esports might be wanting to at least set up, if not possibly start taking an at 20-minute Baron And as with that, they're all going to take the recall for the extra gold and at least have to reset. But that was an absolutely amazing engage from Snacky Vengeance
Yeah,
or
took
Super Bear.
looking at the gold now, we do have Dreadful actually with a 1K gold lead over Bam Pow. Um, so in lane, Kaisa definitely had that lead, was playing really well. But transitioning into this mid game, Jinx has played phenomenal in team fights, hasn't got caught by any Orianna ults, Sejuani ults, Malphite ults, has stayed alive other than those 2 deaths early in the game when they were uh, doven, when they were dived.
When
Past
they were
tense of
jumped
dive.
on.
Yeah, anyways, absolutely playing phenomenal. Has a 700 gold shutdown, which is max shutdown you can have. Is fully online now with 2.5 items here. And with that being said, they will have enough damage to take down this Baron if possible, but do have 4 members of Arkansas Black coming in. Orianna does have TP, gonna use that TP to come in. Malphite on this other side. Looks like Valpo's gonna fight down here. Do have Renata Glass really low already. Here comes Gnar.
Oh, the
Absolutely
Megadar with a
massive
triple
vault.
stud and the Kimbo deletion array.
Yeah, Jakimbo does get stopped in the ultimate by the Sejuani ult, but that Mega Gnar ultimate against the wall with the Vel'Koz ult over top once again, and you see Zac jumping on top to finish it off. But I mean, this Vel'Koz is actually working out really well, synergizes really well with the Zac, but mostly with this Gnar too. The Gnar has had the Mega Gnar when he needs it, and has just found these very good ultimates over and over.
And I was gonna say with the Baron taken and again just realizing that Vel'Koz was truly able to make the most out of their lane for the whole lane as soon as you were talking earlier about that possibly being one of Vel'Koz's win conditions, and obviously while everything and anything can still happen, Vel'Koz really decided to take the early and the mid game and make it their own, especially at the beginning of being 4-0-10, and at this point a whole item and a full Dark Seal stack. We'll be curious to see if we'll be seeing a Soul Stealer or not, or
Yeah,
full
I think
Magi's.
going into this game, Valpo seemed to be the more well-rounded team, at least rank-wise, skill-wise going into this one. And you really see that kind of come out in the mid-game when you have all these huge macro decisions, team fight decisions that you need to make. And some members from Arkansas State Black are kind of slipping, kind of having trouble keeping up with this pace that Valpo has. And Orianna is stuck standing still, will find a 3-man ultimate, and will actually get away unscathed. But having to utilize Flash and Ultimate there, 2 big summoner spells, and Valpo with this Baron with 6 Void Grubs will now have the push coming on.
And and obviously the other Malphite's taking tier 1 top tower, but this does mean that T2 bot will go and either Malphite will continue to push in or teleport back to be able to assist the team. And it looks like yeah, he's finished up and take a call back. So
Yeah, I think Valpo would love Malphite to keep pushing. I mean, not exactly a split push champion. Pushes really slow, and Valpo with Baron buff is able to take down these turrets really fast. Do you see Vel'Koz going this top wave here? I'm going to have to push it all the way down to lane to get to the turret. That is the next easiest turret to take, but you're going to waste a lot of time, rotating to it, pushing that wave. And, this Baron does have limited time on it, so something to keep in note. We'll have a couple backs coming through. We will take a peek, see how long Valpo has left on this Baron buff. And
56 seconds.
56 seconds there. Yeah, so won't really only able to find 1 turret out of it, maybe 2 here in the top lane, but um, I would have liked them to, try and get a bigger push on with those 6 Void Grubs. With this huge gold advantage, I mean, they're up 9k, so I feel like they really could have even extended this lead even more than it already is with this Baron buff. But nonetheless, playing really well, playing safe, playing cautiously, and not really making any mistakes. So definitely not the end of the world. Um,
No, definitely not. But at the very least, Valve Esports is able to secure the second drag. But this will present a very interesting opportunity that'll come up shortly. If we look at the respawn timers, Baron will be up in 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and Cloud Dragon will be up in 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So it is going to be a choice for each team to depend which objective they wish to engage on first, and then just letting Baron to cannon just gain a little bit of extra poke damage. We do see it's a 4v4 here. Kimbo is a little bit on the outside, just pushing mid on his own. Orianna is matching, but as we've seen before, Orianna just hasn't had enough of a good gold lead to be able to really help match.
yeah, I think with neither team being on soul point. I think Baron's going to be the objective both teams are looking for, especially Jinx having the DPS to take it down pretty quickly. But they are trying to knock down this top tier 2 turret. They do not have Baron buff anymore, but will have 5 players from both teams up here. Malphite potentially looking for engage here. All ultimates up on both sides. Meganar is charging up for Valpo, so could see a fight. I mean, if you're wondering when a fight's going to break out, it's probably when Nar is at the 80-90% mark is when the call is going to come in.
Yeah, we'll call for Valpo Esports, and obviously as soon as they realize that any of the members are going to get overextended, I would not be surprised if Arkansas also then decided to counter engage, especially with the Malphite ult. But we do see the Void Grubs again just helping to whittle away this tower. But because everyone's still focused topside, they were pushing a little bit more on the mid side, but we are just gonna see them backing off and just claiming the waves. Just continuing to keep up their gold advantage and forcing Arkansas to have to be responsive to Valpo Esports, which is obviously not the nicest position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, Valpo over the past 2 minutes and for the next minute are just trying to finish items, set up vision in the enemy jungle. Not too much to do here with the Baron gone and the objective's not quite up yet. But they do have really good deep vision here, starting to get cleared out by Arkansas Black. And do have Gnar potentially getting collapsed on here. Will have Sejuani ult, will have Malphite ult. So got to be really careful, but do have a couple members mid and bot for Valpo, so won't be able to help him out.
Ult and a flash.
Oh, and the late Malphite ult, that's going to be a big cooldown that may be down for a later fight. But Valpo Esports will be able to take this mid turret very likely, and potentially this bot lane turret as well.
Yeah, mid lane turret gone, inhibitor going to be gone, and also...
They're just going to back up for the dragon, get some vision down. Probably won't have time to reset. Do have the Orianna ult for the minion wave. So with Malphite, Sejuani ult, Orianna ult, and Kai'Sa ult down, they probably will not be in a good position to contest this, especially considering the lack of vision they have in this dragon. So Valpo, probably safe to say that this dragon will be theirs, but do have Arkansas State kind of toying with the idea of heading towards Baron maybe.
I was gonna say there's a single ward place for Arkansas on Baron, but we do know that Jinx. We just know that Jinx will be able to help melt Dragon so quickly that even though it's gonna be a 10-second timer, it's gonna be. There's no way that Arkansas could take it before at least Valpo could get over there. But we do see that 3 of them are clearing vision. But we also do know that Kai'Sa and Orianna are just still hanging around mid, and we have that we have ward deep in in red side to confirm that they are not in fact taking
just
Baron.
not in position to go for a Baron there. Don't have Kai'Sa there for the DPS, but they are able to get some vision down. But Valpo just taking that dragon too quick and able to be there in time. That would kind of be a last-ditch effort, game-ending call there for Arkansas State likely. But I mean, they're kind of getting this slow bleed going, slowly being closed out of this game. The chances going down further and further as they are down 9k, and Valpo able to pick up 2 big objectives. Soul Point and this Baron here will have a steal opportunity potentially coming in.
Nah, it's too late at this point.
I was gonna say a Jinx ult, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, the Jinx
Jinx
on our
ult
team.
Jinx ult is the Valpo. Jinx ult belongs to the Valpo.
Yep. So I think we had some backs come in right before Dragon, so hopefully won't need to back right after this Baron. Do have the super minions in the mid wave, but looks like their team is setting up to finally take down this top tier 2 turret that they've been working at for a while. And this should be kind of the final push to the end here, I would assume. But Valpo Esports playing really well this mid-game transition and this late game. Have made minimal, if not any, mistakes. And have played really well. We'll have these Void Grubs spawning in. But we'll have one final team fight. Huge ultimate by Renata picking up 3. Malphite will find 2. No Orianna. The ult comes out. Kai'Sa dives the backline. Do have Zac ult peeling for the team. Super Bear will pick up 1 on Kai'Sa.
Oh, and Kai'Sa just barely survives, and with that final push, Velka's just TP'd it in just because he wants to. Just finishing up this fight. Very fun, very interesting game. Jinx ult just trying to help secure, but with this, it's been done and dusted. And as Valpo finishes taking these towers and taking these minions, Valpo does take the game 1-0 in preparation for the second game, and Valpo takes it nice and strong.
Yeah, so Valpo taking game one over Arkansas State Black. In that last team fight, you really saw Dreadful on Jinx able to kite out all those ultimates coming at him and lived with just a sliver of health, having that three full items online. Just so much damage, but Valpo Esports ended the game with a 15k gold lead and up 22 kills to 9. So just a great showing by Valpo Esports. The only big negative I really saw was at the beginning, having those two dives happen in the bot lane and kind of not responding to it maybe in the best manner. But other than that, really great game by Valpo Esports. Do you have any final notes on game one?
I was gonna say no. I think Velpo Esports realized that they knew the early game was not going to be their best, and really tried to help play themselves against it. And
Yeah.
even when they were looking a little bit rough in the bot lane, the whole team just decided that we're just going to keep going. And before we knew it, Dreadful and Dikembe were able to catch up and even start succeeding the Jinx or start succeeding the Kaisa. I'm excited to see what Game 2 has in store for us, though.
Yeah, really pumped for game two. I thought bot lane, I mean, played phenomenal considering the circumstances. Jinx ended 9-2. Jakimbo leading the way with a perfect 19 KDA and leading the way in damage with 24k. But we will take a short break as we hop into game two, and we will be right back. Welcome back, guys. Henry Speedy Kill Ninja on the mic with,
Monsieur, one of the players on the team.
yeah, the one and only, the Jakimbo right hand man for him, along with support, has really been climbing the solo queue ladder. So props to him. Really excited to get you in some games next year for sure. But we'll be hopping right into draft here. Do have Valpo on blue side again against Arkansas State Black. We'll have the same first two bands coming out. That
First three.
Yeah, that Draven with their ADC really excelled on that in solo queue, along with these two dive champions, the Nico and the Wukong. And Arkansas State will be banning out some mid laners, these kind of carry mid laners, and will get the respect to Zach ban. We'll take a quick peek, actually. Curious to see who Valpo's jungler is. Okay, will be Super Bear again. So same lineup going to this one. Have Steamroller in the top lane, Super Bear in the jungle, Jakimbo in the mid lane, Dreadful in ADC, and Dikembe as support. Sorry, that's a tough one.
I know you're good. It's between the usernames, their actual names, and the champion pick. It can be any, at least one of the three.
Hey, between all the teams, games too, I mean, not too bad. But do have the Maokai Flex coming out first. Could see that in the top lane jungle or even support. And then do have this Udyr coming out for Arkansas State. That was one of their junglers' most played champions. And then along with the Syndra, haven't seen it too much in comp play, but have had that Syndra come out a lot in solo queue. So two kind of reverting to comfort picks for Arkansas State. Don't like or I kind of like that idea reverting to their comfort picks, their most experienced champions, instead of trying to fit this mold of a specific like team comp, this specific gameplay style. They kind of just revert to what they're comfortable with, what they feel confident playing, and when you're on match point of being eliminated from the playoffs, I mean that's kind of the time to do it. But Valpo Esports picking up the Aatrox for top lane, so that Maokai will not be in top lane. Haven't seen this from Steamroller yet this semester, at least on stream that I've seen personally. I'm really excited to see this pick. Any thoughts on the Aatrox?
I was gonna say, just Udyr still technically can be played as somewhat of a flex. So just as Aatrox is a possible response to Udyr, I do think Udyr is more likely to go jungle. But Aatrox is
Yeah,
just such a safe pick, which is how the meta is right now. It's just super safe for Aatrox. And then Malcolm, we still, just because we can't see it top, we still can see it support. Would not be surprised if the Kimby or Blake decided to also just have some fun with Malcolm. But we do see Super Bear going for the second of their, I would say, more favorite picks of Viego. So we are seeing most. We are gonna hopefully now we're gonna see some more kind of comfort picks from both sides. And Arkansas just decided um, that Jakimbo is just not going to be able to play most of his comfort picks with both Ari, Talia, Hui, and Vel'Koz all played.
yeah.
Vel'Koz and Zach specifically beat monsters last game.
Jakimbo Sway has kind of been his bread and butter as of recently, especially in scrims, has been really strong. So really a big threat for kind of pulling away with the game. And then the Vel'Koz, which he played very well on last game. I do want to say I think this Udyr is going to be in the jungle. Well, one, we do see Gragas, who could technically also be a jungler, but has been a little bit more of a top laner recently. But in this situation, in this scenario, their jungler plays a ton of Udyr, and their top laner hasn't played it at all. So gonna assume, we have the Udyr jungle, we have the Gragas top. I think that's what our team is drafting with in mind. Senna just got a huge nerf, and not gutted, but a absolutely massive nerf, with the farming Senna specifically, and then also the ability to not go double Dorans anymore with the support item changes. But will end up locking in the Senna. Not quite as strong as it was yesterday. Did have some scrims on Monday. Did play that Senna, and it went really well. Along with the Viego, went really well. I heard he had like a 20 plus kill game on Monday. Um, so yeah, kind of maybe seeing a team comp come out from one of those games, and then Victor, a very late game scaling champion, really strong, ton of DPS, and then huge pick from the side of Arkansas State Black, have the Vayne.
I was gonna say, Senna will be very interesting again, as you said. Really the main nerf that came from Senna was just the misstacks. If I remember, it was about 8% normally for a minion kill, all the way down to 2%.
Yeah,
So Senna's not getting a lot of miss from minion kills, which I guess it could mean that they want Senna to really focus more on the ability just to be poke, just auto queue, and you still get misstacks, but that really is going to focus Senna on being more of a watching that 8 second to 6 second cooldown of the miss refresh on champions, which might mean some more missed on champions, but at a loss of CS if you're not playing Senna at their A game.
Yeah, so we'll have Dreadful on the Senna, Dikembe on the Maokai here. Against, I mean, I think this Vayne Braum, I mean, this just makes the bot lane even more exciting because Vayne, if Vayne gets those early 3 kills like they did last game, could be a whole different story. Could be a very scary game. Vayne ahead can hyper carry, can kind of 1v9 take over the game, so something to watch out for, especially not really having the hard CC they had last game in the jungle, but do have it in the top lane for sure. But I do kind of like this little more damage in the jungle and trade it out with the more supporty in the bot lane, more healing, shielding. So kind of trading out those roles there. So going to have kind of a carry jungler role here. And played really well last game. Had a lot of his lead coming from the farming department and his leveling experience there. So excited to see what he's able to do with it this time. Um, but Valpo Esports last game kind of had that late game on lock. You mean you saw the slower pace even after they had a big lead, knowing that if they don't make any mistakes, the game's kind of in their hands. It's theirs to lose. Arkansas State kind of opting for a strong late game comp this time. Syndra stacks very long. Vayne, once they hit 3-4 items, is extremely strong as well. So Arkansas State definitely gonna have a very strong late game team as well.
I was gonna say, and with that, even just looking at the difference between the team counts itself, again, this one feels, I think, a lot more close to home for both teams and just the champions that they're comfortable with. But we also just see that I would say, significantly less team fight friendly. Sidra single target, Gragas is gonna disengage, Vayne is single target. Senna's got a little bit. Senna's got some shielding, but just some damage. But just a little interesting to see that it's not. I would say not as team fight. All these ultimates specifically are not as team fight helpful as they were last game. So really trying to focus on really individual lanes instead of trying to win at the team fights. It's just going to be a little bit interesting to see just a little bit of a different way to shake things up in this upcoming game.
Yeah, I think Arkansas State's team fight is going to be a lot more like execution based. Like the Malphite ult is just a point and click. The Orion ult, you kind of just put the ball on Malphite, hope he gets a good ult. This is a little less straightforward and a little more takes a little more skill and effort. The Gragas, that ultimate can be tough to get in the right place, and then also the positioning from Vayne is a big factor. And then kind of having the Braum to peel. Udyr pretty straightforward, and then Syndra kind of there to try and execute targets as they drop low. But any final thoughts on draft before we hop into the spectator delay?
I don't really think so. I think that obviously we're gonna see that mid and just as the same in game one, mid and top is what Valpo Esports really should be focused on building the lead, and then in bot lane as long as Senna and Malcoy don't really go too far negative, I think Valpo Esports Valpo can consider bot lane a win. They just really have to be careful of another 3-man gank or engage around level 5 ish because that was where the start of the bleeding happened for Valpo Esports. They were able to cauterize it and win, but we obviously don't want that to. We don't want to have the same result happen a second time.
Well, we will be right back after a short spectator delay. Hang in there. We have a best of 3 series. Valpo up 1 over Arkansas State Black in the NECC Challenger Division quarterfinals, and we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hopping into game 2 of Valpo Esports versus Arkansas State Black. Does look like we will not be getting a 5-point right off the bat here. Do have Arkansas State kind of stacking here. So we'll be, sorry about that, getting some settings in. We'll be looking for this Maokai, but already in the bush here. See if he's able to back up in time. We'll have the Braum proc for the stun. Got to be careful, does get the flash out. Or not the flash out.
No, just absolutely gets
Saves
CC'd.
flash there. Um, Yeah, first kill for Arkansas State Black going on the Udyr. Would have been huge if they're able to get it on the Vayne. Valpo in response will get some deep vision in Arkansas's jungle. Um, but yeah, not an ideal start. That 5-point did not work out successfully. Sorry, kind of at a loss of words there. But 600 gold lead for Arkansas State. And also, we'll have the bot lane looking for an early trade here against a set of Maokai's. Very smart decision. With that Braum proccing, can be very scary for early trade potential.
I was gonna say, but even looking, as we were saying earlier, looking at the rest of the team, obviously, jungle the first invade by Udyr is going to be a lot stronger than expected. But looking at we have a triple teleport by both Steamroller, Kimbo, and Kimby all being there, and we got some late skirmish. We do see a flash, and we do see the heal coming from Dreadful.
Yeah, Flash was probably unnecessary there from Braum as he did have the fourth auto attack coming through on Vayne, but will be a huge trade for Arkansas State right off the bat. Do have the heal coming out. No flashes other than Braum's flash, but will be tough for early trading purposes. Arkansas State also looking for the early push so far. Playing this lane much more aggressive. Udyr started in that top side, going to hope to be in a position to dive on that third wave, crashing in. Kind of looking for a full clear. He had the timing right in the other game, just the bot lane wasn't in position for it. But I imagine they'll be looking for it this game with that early trade coming out. But also of note, Viego is pathing top to bot too, so will be there in time for a counter gank if possible. So both junglers kind of at a crucial point here in the game, going to be at about 3:30, 4 minutes. So keep an eye out for that.
As we just see some late skirmishing by Aatrox, Senna's still at level 1, just because of the walking up top, wave pushing in, which is, I think, maybe exactly what Rebel Esports wanted, just because they know that Viego's nearby, but Viego is just going to continue just for a full clear for a level 4, which means waves will be pushing, resetting middle, at least probably pushing them back towards Arkansas. And again, Aatrox being Aatrox up in the top lane, just doing what he does best, is some late skirmishing.
Yeah, wards for both teams in this tribe rush, so both junglers will likely be spotted out unless if Udyr opts to take a lane gank path, which would be very smart, but will look like he's going to go for the scuttle first. Udyr sitting in this pixel brush while Viego is walking into the pixel brush, so we'll have a fight breakout. Ghost coming out from Udyr. That is a very bad spot to be if you're a Viego. Will likely be a solo kill. Still has flash up. Oh, fails it over the wall. Wasn't able to get there in time. And Udyr ends up getting the solo kill on that one.
I was gonna say Udyr now one with a shutdown and one with 2 gold is gonna be Udyr's looking like the weapon that Valpo Esports will need to disarm sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and is going to be going for that Leandry's build too, so going to have a good amount of damage and be tanky at the same time, as he do have a big purchase coming through. Already having spent 2,100 gold is kind of crazy. But yeah, a lot of AP damage for the side of Arkansas State. Do have that Vayne as their only big AD threat. Does have some true damage involved too, but if you're Valpo Esports, you're probably going to look to have those Merc Tread boots on early.
They have to, but we also
Udyr coming up top lane for maybe another gank. Sorry to cut you off.
no. That I was gonna say this potential gank is looking like it's gonna be a lot more interesting on screen, and it's happening. We're gonna see the flash. We see the flash come out. We do know that Udyr does not have his summoners, but it looks like it might just be enough. But it is the double. It's the flash from Greg Citizen, and Udyr once again gain another kill.
Yeah, Udyr 3-0 now. Will have a lot of gold income there. Valpo Esports just having no vision there in the top side, kind of big. Not able to spot that out, and Udyr able to help get this wave pushed in, so going to be up in XP as well. So going to be a very scary Udyr come mid to late game.
I was gonna say three kills. Quick back wouldn't be surprised if we saw probably enough gold for a tier 2 boots, but we're just gonna see another control ward beat. We're just gonna see another control ward and boots from Gregus. Atrax, even though with that kill technically is still up in CS, and because Gragas got the assist, Atrax still looking strong in terms of CS. Just obviously the domination that was happening top side just obviously kind of being
And
negated a little
Viego
bit.
spotted out on vision here. We'll have Udyr here for a counter gank. This could be a catastrophe for Valpo Esports here with Udyr coming in. And Viego does go down with the condemn, hitting them into the wall, gets stunned up. We'll see if Senna and Maokai are able to get out, gets the slowdown, flash forward from Vayne, and no stun coming out.
Stun there, just getting a few extra stacks of mist, but unfortunately, yeah, Udyr's just way too strong. And now Vayne having another kill, Vayne is now able to take that CS lead and really help make it something even more threatening for Valpo
Yep.
Esports.
Super Bear in the wrong spot at the wrong time, unfortunately, with Udyr coming right back there. But do have this Dragon and Void Grub still up, have been around and up for a while here. Haven't seen either team look huge for it, but actually, as I say that, Valpo Esports is actually on the Void Grubs as they just take down the first one. And Dragon is up and definitely will be favored for Arkansas State. And you know, their mid lane's not doing too bad, down 10 CS, but looks like they kind of have push power right now. But bot lane definitely in position to get this dragon as they do see the Void Grubs taken. It looks like they're starting to rotate up for it.
And yeah, I was gonna say, just came up before, able to absolutely, almost felt like it was smirking on their Oriana before, but we're seeing that the comfort pick really is making them feel a lot more confident in their champion choice. Because again, down 9 CS, but nowhere near as bad as it was last game. Arkansas really decided to step up their game, realize that this was the potential match point in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, good awareness and jungle tracking by Valpo Esports and Super Bear. Viego saw Udyr in bot lane, headed up for Dragon, was able to pick up the red buff and Raptors. Kind of opting to go for this kind of CS experience lead again. Unfortunately, so far not working out too well for him because these ganks and this time spent in lanes for Udyr has really paid off for him. And the time spent dead on Viego hasn't really been able to build up a big CS lead, but does have a full clear coming in. So that lead might extend a little bit. But yeah, 4 kills for Arkansas State. Black up 1,000 gold. So pretty big lead here in the early game for Arkansas State again. But going to be a majority of that gold on the jungle this time around.
Yeah, again, even with Valpo Esports for both top and mid lane really being able to help with that CS lead, making up for the kill deficit, only being down pretty much exactly 1,000 gold. Just looking at the top side of the screen, obviously Infernal taken, Chemtech spawning in 4. Will be interesting to see. Interesting to see what soul it is. Quite honestly, I'm hoping for a good old Hex Tech. Always seems to make these games a lot more interesting. Not that League isn't interesting on its own, but somehow Hex Tech always seems to throw in a few extra surprises.
Yeah, the portals are kind of fun. But looking at the lane lead so far, kind of what you would expect top and mid with a slight lead for Valpo Esports, and the bot lane is up huge for Arkansas State, which... Oh, wait, you know what? I made a miscalculation. I forgot it was Starving Senna. That is a big reason why that lead is there, because the Senna is not farming. But yeah, nonetheless, the Vayne is doing really well, and then Udyr obviously head very far. But do have Viego down here and Udyr again. Another party in the bot lane. Looks like Viego will back here, not really looking for this 3v3.
I was gonna say though, I even think that Vio might just need to stick around just as insurance bill, but we do see a good response play by Esports, just allowing Senna to get some more stacks. Atrax playing with low health. The problem is their Steamroller's ult is on cooldown, so just realizing that the free lifesteal isn't happening. But we do see the roam from Jakimbo, and we're gonna see if we have something here with a 4v3.
Yeah, great roam here. Are going to be able to get the shutdown on the Udyr. Over to Victor is absolutely huge. Vayne, completely messed up. I was gonna say Vayne flash, but tumbled away. But 4v3, great recognition by Jakimbo to be able to rotate down here. Does miss out on a wave in the mid lane, but definitely worth it to get that shutdown, and will get some plates in return. Potential dive on Braum, but do have the TP coming out. Got to be very careful. Vayne using ultimate. Super Bear going to be able to take down Braum. Viego does drop as well. Vayne getting the double kill, which is absolutely huge. And Udyr is back from respawn, going to clean up the last two. Vayne getting assists on all these kills. So what turned out to be a good play initially turns into a very negative play, almost a catastrophe for Valpo Esports. Very smart TP by Syndra there. Does see that Valpo Esports is prepping for this dive on this Braum. And the Vayne just popping ultimate, able to spit out so much damage. And then, we're only 11 minutes into the game. Udyr has a very quick respawn timer and was able to get back there with a full Leandre's already built.
Yeah, Velpa Esports made an absolutely smart play at the start, but decided to try to get greedy by taking the extra kill, or try to take the extra kills and take some extra play. Then all they really should have done was just disengage and cut their wins. But
In game two, you do see Arkansas State in position for these Void Grubs. Going to be able to even out three for three. Do have the Braum rotating up while Maokai is staying in the bot lane. Pretty smart for Valpo. Don't want to contest this. Not in a position to fight quite yet, as they are down 2k gold now. But yeah, those Void Grubs, I bet Arkansas State is going to appreciate not having those little voids spawn and just do a ton of damage over time to their turret.
yeah, especially 6 stacks at 9 minutes. Just let Senna get a nice long Q or two, and there's like 200 damage done to the tower, even if it has one plate left, just because
Yeah.
it is true damage.
And with the staggered time, and these spawns are going to be able to reset and be at Drake on time here. Don't have a lot of vision set up on either side. But Valpo Esports will have 4 members down here, but going to be very scary to fight. Aatrox does have teleport up, and Gragas is backing without teleport. Looks like Gragas will be in position to head down to Dragon if they feel like a fight is going to break out. But Prio definitely in the favor of Arkansas State. Do you see Viego hop in here? Braum ultimate. Udyr gonna get that ultimate, do a ton of damage on the Viego. Viego will get burned down before anything is able to happen. No resets allowed. And Victor gets shoved in and is gonna have to stay in the mid lane here. Maokai gets condemned against the wall, will not get killed, but a kill on Viego will kind of secure this Dragon priority for Arkansas State.
Just unfortunately, just seems like Superbear's tempo is just a little bit off right now. Just having ever since the start, just making them kind of be in a long position for a long time. Even though they have the CS lead, CS doesn't mean much when the other laner has a whole bunch of kills. We are seeing though that we are seeing Jakimbo probably starting to secure 1 kill, 1 assist, and 120 CS. Curious to see what augments he's finished up.
Yeah, and Vayne going for Essence Reaver here. Not super up to date on the meta, but that is kind of crazy going for the heavy damage on the Vayne. But yeah, haven't really seen that one. But Arkansas State able to secure that second Drake, and the Drake will be Ocean. Sorry. I was trying to look at the transformation, but I realized the logo thing's right there. But Senna getting jumped on by the Vayne will find a solo bolo kill for the Vayne. That ultimate doing so much damage already with the Essence Reaver item and a half completed. And the Senna, very squishy champion, and with only lethality built so far, won't help her out too much.
Unfortunately not. It looks like Arkansas realized what was really holding them back last game, and has really decided to bring their best foot forward, trying to ensure that this is going to end with at least a super easy 2 out of Alpha. We do see Victor just going for a quick little skirmish, trying to do with Rift.
You gotta be careful fighting up here, just knowing that they're on Rift Herald here. But looks like they're heading towards mid after this. This mid turret, once you knock down this tier 1, it really opens up the map for the enemy team. We'll see what Udyr decides to go with it if he decides to recall. Syndra is recalling, so likely won't be dropped immediately. But Valpo does know where their jungler is now, so you do see Viego kind of dropping down into this bot lane, gets spotted out, won't be able to look for anything now. But yeah, I think Viego is going for this Kraken Slayer build is just a little too far behind, not able to burst down these champions enough to get the kill reset for the healing. And I mean, you really saw that at that fight in the Dragon. He went in kind of expecting to be able to get the execute on the Braum, but with the ultimate from Braum kind of delaying that, he just got burned down too quickly by the Vayne and by the Udyr.
I was gonna say, but Viego, not give credit where credit is due. Viego is currently up about 30 CS, or would be equivalent of about 2 kills. So realistically, looking 700 gold down, but still would be about 341 instead of 141. Just keeping in mind the CS difference. Again, 40 actually, going up pretty high as this blue, and as grubs are going to get taken probably
Yeah,
pretty soon.
biggest lead for Valpo actually in the top lane, up 1k gold. You see that from the 40 CS, 2 kills worth there. In mid lane, actually just about even here. Syndra doing a phenomenal job CSing this time around and does have those extra 2 assists that will help her out. Did see Victor kind of roam down to that bot lane for 2 waves there, so missed out on that CS potential. Um, but yeah, Valpo definitely not in a great position so far in this game. But the gold lead isn't exactly what you'd expect it to be for a 10-2 game. Only down 2k, no turrets taken so far. So although the scoreboard looks bad, just looking at the kills, the big number, the gold lead, definitely not in a situation where game 2 is over whatsoever. But Arkansas State definitely putting up a fight, not losing this series without a fight.
And at the end of the day, that's what a good league game is all about. It's no fun winning or losing. With no room for counterplay. We do see Udyr City to the bush. We just gotta hopefully watch that Senna and Alclay stay a little bit safe, and Udyr just decides to go pops Rift Herald mid zone.
Yeah, are in playoffs now in the quarterfinals. So I mean, at this point in the season, there's not really any slouch teams you're going to be facing. Even though Valpo kind of ran away with game 1. I mean, game 2, Arkansas State kind of looking like a new team here.
It really did. It really seems to both in terms of communication, especially with their jungler, really having the team understand where their position is and where they feel safe. Interesting just to see. Again, we did know that it was going to be at least harder early start, just because Senna just needs so much. Senna needs time to get online, especially since it's not farming. Senna's not getting online with items. She has to get online with Mist.
Yeah, most impressive for Arkansas State is definitely their Syndra. Just keeping pace with Jakimbo is just very impressive. Having just a huge rank disparity there in the mid lane and being able to hang in there. And be honest, didn't really get much help from Udyr too. You saw Udyr helping out bot lane, top lane, but Syndra doing very well, kind of all on her own in the mid lane there. And we'll see that mid lane matchup now in the bot lane as we transition to the mid game.
I was gonna say 18 minutes in, we got Dragon coming up in about
3v3
now.
coming out here. Vayne spits out a lot of damage. Gonna look for the stun, not able to get there in time, but do have Victor collapsing on this. Syndra TP into the mid lane turret, but not really gonna get there in time. Maokai with a massive shutdown on the Vayne. Failed flash from Braum here, and they are gonna pick up a 2 for none so far. Valpo don't want to get too greedy here, but at the same time do have this dragon objective up. But do have a couple members low. That Udyr still alive that spits out a lot of damage. But it looks like they're just going to slowly take vision control and be able to secure this dragon.
I was gonna say, looks like Valpo really learned their lesson, especially after the incident that happened at bot side. Just realizing that just taking a little bit and climbing out of their what was already a relatively small deficit, making it even worse or making it even better. If we look, Valpo Esports is actually up just about, I would say, 110 gold. And while the scoreboard doesn't look like that, it at least makes Valpo is easily now back in the game, especially those 2 kills, especially Malcoy and Jakimbo really solidifying the fact of their positions and how strong they are. Even just the extra kill and the start of having Archangels be almost finished will be a very nice shield. Will be a very nice shield for Jakimbo in case things get a little bit soured in the upcoming fights.
Yeah, so Valpo back with the gold lead, kind of crazy considering all the kills that have happened. Huge play there by Jakimbo. Has done a much better job at moving this game and being aware of the situation. A lot of damage coming out here. Ult might be able to finish the job here
Alt is able to finish it up.
and able to get a solo kill, doing so much damage. Only 2-1 and 2, but having 2 items complete will now have Shutdown Gold online, along with Shutdown Gold in the top lane. Doesn't have a kill yet, but has just been farming really well this entire game and hasn't died as of recently. But yeah, Valpo looking really impressive. But what I was going to say, I was kind of talking about Jakimbo, just being aware of the macro game, what's happening, and, their comms and communication got to be really good because they saw Arkansas State going a little too far and he was able to rotate over. But Maokai able to get the stun on the Vayne. Udyr a little too far out, caught alone. But Maokai also dives deep, and their team was playing on that Udyr instead of the Vayne. Vayne was a little far back, but Vayne kiting this out. And also a fight breaking out in bot lane as well.
The barrel just enough to kill.
Gragas able to find the shutdown on the Victor. But Aatrox able to find a kill on Fear Turbo. Actually, Dreadfill picking up the last hit on that one. Able to get this turret as well. Vayne still has not gone down. Senna doing a lot of damage, but extremely squishy. Great reaction on that flash timer. But Viego, is he going to have ultimate to be able to execute this one? Doesn't have it up.
Oh, but Senna does kill without getting killed herself, making it at the very least making that engage net neutral. And again, any net neutrals is actually a net positive for Valpo just because of Senna stacking. We are going to see the Malkoy TP in response. It was really interesting though, just realizing that after the single kill, it really didn't help that for Malkoy's end. Malkoy went in just a little bit too far, and they were able to punish really well. Just really shutting down Malkoy, at least for the kind of the start of that engage, which, quite honestly, I think was just enough because we saw that Vayne was pretty low. We saw that Vayne was pretty low health towards the end, and even just having an extra auto or two would have probably been enough for Malkoy just to at least secure another kill. But Valpo does take a decently positive switch from that end. From it being perfectly tied to being about up 900 gold, about 1k actually.
Yeah, so Vayne opted not to go ghost this game, but does have the boost of swiftness that allows them to kite out in these team fights. And you saw for about 60 full seconds there in the top lane, this Vayne had the moves on, was playing really well, kiting out Valpo's team, and now at 7-1, only one death there, has put themselves in a situation where it looks like they're going to die a couple times. But it just has great position and great awareness of his champion's kind of limits, but also the appeal from this ROM as well.
I was gonna say with that and Valpo Esports resetting, what's really surprised? I guess I shouldn't say it was surprising looking back on it, but Jakimbo obviously super strong in both CS and kills. I guess at that point didn't have a kill, and I think Jakimbo just thought that it was gonna be enough to just pretty much clean them out, but Jakimbo I think realized pretty quickly that just a little bit of extra damage, especially from that probably finishing of the Rod of Ages, was really enough to just cause some havoc, especially after taking some good sustained damage from the Syndra. But we do see just some light pings going on around midside as both Bear is up and Ocean Dragon is up in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think over the next 5-10 minutes we are going to be quite a bit shocked from the Victor damage, even though he only is 3-2. Have some big item completions coming through, but also how that champion scales into the late game. I mean, we saw that one shot on Syndra was absolutely insane. But yeah, gonna be laning against this Gragas, who has no MR built up yet, but pretty tanky with that Rod of Ages. So Victor will probably just be farming, building up more stacks over the next kind of 5 minutes until more of these objectives come up. But do have Dragon up now. We'll have a TP coming in just to get good position for that. Do have Aatrox there. Gragas has TP up, recalling now. Valpo definitely having river priority here, but Gragas going to look to TP in here. A lot of vision cleared out. Oh, able to find a TP behind on the ward. Valpo started up the Dragon, but this is the Ocean Dragon with the slow on. Senna gets a stun. Nothing happening so far.
Just some light pokes going around. The cage being thrown down by Jakimbo.
Feeling it out so far. Braum looking to find an angle on this ultimate. Senna ult comes through. And here comes the engage. Have Maokai ult coming through. Gragasol hasn't been throwing yet. Going to be
All about
watching out for
this.
that one.
All about the spacing
Gets
here
in on
as
this
we
back
see.
line. Gonna want to find the target priority on this Vayne. Don't want her to be cutting out. She's doing so much damage to the Viego. Valpo super low. Gonna have to back up a little bit here. Blue team does end up securing the Dragon, but Udyr finds a kill on this Victor. A lot of members low on the side of Arkansas State. Viego gonna find some resets into Braum though. Gonna have to return. Will get stunned, and Vayne able to clean up that kill. Gets Vayne extremely low, but Viego gets stunned up by that Braum proc. So unfortunately not able to find the kill, and the Vayne is now 10-1, and it looks like they're heading for Baron here. We'll see what Senna is able to do to stop this. Do have Maokai spawning as well. Definitely have the damage. Udyr has the healing. Will Vayne drop low, and will Senna be able to do anything to stop it?
We see the TP coming
Maokai
in from
ult
Maokai.
in. No Maokai ult here. I don't know if fight is the play here. Maybe just want to get them off, but Senna doing a lot of damage to this Vayne. Vayne doing a lot of damage in return. Oh, and barely able to find the kill.
Barely enough to get that kill.
And that's huge, because if he didn't get the kill before he died, Maokai might have not been able to clean that one up. So honestly, huge trade, because one, they get the shutdown gold, big shutdown on that Vayne, and then also they stop the Baron, which is honestly the biggest win of it there.
I was gonna say, absolutely have to agree. Watching Dreadful coming down to the last seconds and showing the both him and Vayne showing the power of kiting and just ensuring that the last few auto attacks really don't go off was just enough for Senna to get it. And even if we realized like it was so close that a few less misstacks could have been the difference between that kill or not. So just realizing the importance of consistently farming for Senna throughout this entire game has been super strong. And Dragons will be back up in 3 minutes. But again, Valpo Esports did secure the Dragon. Took a tiny bit of a gold hit for that, but the extra healing I think is gonna start being more and more helpful as we kind of run into teams that don't really have too much of healing on their own. So any little passive healing, especially missing healing, is just gonna be super helpful as we get into late game and as we've seen these fights while some of them are executing, some of them also are taking up a little bit of time, so that extra passive healing also is.
Yeah, I think in these team fights we saw the Dragon, focusing Vayne is going to be of the utmost importance. Are looking for a pick. That scanner going to spot them out there. But Vayne having that cleanse, having that flash, has a lot of mobility to be able to escape, and then with her ult and tumble, able to turn invisible as well. But trying to like lock her down and be able to focus her is going to be huge, because if she's able to just auto attack freely and like throw out her DPS in team fights, it is not going to go well for Valpo.
I was gonna say, is there any way we could get a quick look at the stacks of Senna right now? I'd be curious to see how much miss, and also how much range they have. Oh, it's 109. So looking pretty strong right now. Again, every 10 is a spike, and every 20 especially is a huge power spike, both with most importantly with range, but also with extra lifesteal.
Yeah, that range is going to be super huge, especially with the boots of swiftness. Able to put out damage at a safe range is going to be really important. But keep in mind, this Maokai this whole time has been farming. So honestly, a little bit tankier than you would expect from a support player. Does have a little bit more gold income. Is up about 3k on their support. But Vayne with 13k gold is crazy.
Yep, but both gold, but the gold lead actually, the gold translation is about the same, both about 19k invested in both sides bot lanes.
Yeah, so Valpo Esports overall does have a 1.2k gold lead. So Valpo in the lead do have 2 Ocean Dragons tied up, 2 dragons tied up in those Void Grubs, and also Valpo up 1 turret. I was going to say also tied in turrets, so it is a very, very even game. But those Ocean Dragons going to be providing them a little bit more healing and sustain. But the next Ocean Dragon soul point for both teams will be coming up in 40 seconds here, so definitely something to watch. Do have 5 recalls coming out for Valpo Esports. Maybe a little bit later than you'd like to see, just because Arkansas State is able to set up all this vision, clear some wards, have pinks and wards over the wall here. See Syndra back in a little bit late, but does have TP up, so no worries there. But Arkansas State definitely has a river prow and in a good position for this dragon. Valpo opting to go through the mid lane, try and get some mid prow here. Aatrox in bot lane, going to catch this wave, avoid this turret being taken. Valpo's starting to move into the jungle here, though.
They do have to be. Valpa does have to be careful here. It is going to be a 4v5 right now, just with Aatrox clearing out bot side. Clearing out bot side minions. Valpa Esports obviously realizing that they can't engage quite. They can't engage, but I do think Arkansas kind of missed a good opportunity to start engage just because Aatrox was a decent distance.
Do have eyes on the Vayne right now, which is a little split away from the team, just in the mid lane. I mean, that's really going to be the focus of this fight. Watching her, if she's able to get that damage out freely, Arkansas State likely going to win this fight. If Valpo is able to get on them, likely will win this fight. Ton of damage coming out on the Syndra early. This poking from Victor is absolutely huge. Aatrox kind of leading the way for Valpo Esports on the bot side of the river here.
And just yeah, just again some friendly words being friendly words and friendly abilities being thrown both sides. Oh, that quick.
Vayne will split off onto the Aatrox here. Valpo Esports either needs to take a fight up or Aatrox needs to get out. Are able to find the mid turret. Aatrox healing so much though, no anti-heal on him yet. Vayne dropping extremely low and maybe able to find the kill with the Q.
But
Able
the
to get him eventually.
flash.
So this will be a huge win. Maokai ult coming through and you do have Super Bear on the back end able to clean up this kill. Gragas will run away. They're just going to turn their focus to the dragon, to this soul point. So absolutely huge. You saw Vayne turn onto the Aatrox while he was split off from the team and just try and focus him. Do have Victor stopping some of these backs here, not playing too aggro. Got to be careful against the Brahmin Udyr there, but will be turning their attention towards the Baron here. We'll get some vision set up, and with these longer death timers, 30 minutes plus into the game, we'll definitely have the chance to be able to take it here.
I was gonna say Valpo Esports realizing that both the huge threat of Vayne and also the huge execute potential of Syndra both being down for at least 15 seconds, just because even if you spawn in, you gotta get to the wave, and Jakimbo having the threat of teleport is so strong. Senna is just gonna get out, and a very successful both team fight and double response from Valpo. Valpo's now up about 4k gold, and since they got dragged, they are at soul point for Ocean. Just making that healing absolutely insane. We were noticing earlier that the only anti-heal that the enemy team currently has is on Gragas, and even then it's just the Oblivion Orb. So really making Aatrox just an absolute threat to be reckoned with. And the extra healing from three ocean dragons is definitely not doing Arkansas any favors.
Yeah, those 3 drags really going to help them on this push to provide that extra sustain. Do see Syndra looking for a flank here. Going to have a fight, potentially break out here. Does get a stun on the Victor, which is huge. Able to find an early kill on the Victor with the ultimate. Do have the TP coming through. Valpo Esports in a bad spot. Do have Aatrox all coming out, running the way, but Super Bear also going down to the Vayne. Vayne going to be chasing down. Does have a lot of speed. Able to also take down this Maokai. And Aatrox and Senna able to escape freely. So this Baron not going too well. Will actually end up in Arkansas State taking down this tier 2 turret here. So gold lead is going to be close to back to even here. Might actually take 2 turrets here.
I was gonna say, yeah, Valpo Esports really just unfortunately just not having a super good view on their of their vision, and Arkansas actually being able to take Valpo Esports' inhibitor, causing super minions and just causing at least some consistent watching over the mid lane for the next about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, luckily no big objectives up for Arkansas State, but that flank from that Syndra was absolutely huge. Able to find a huge stun on Jakimbo, able to execute him with ultimate, and then the TP coming in from Gragas. Behind the team, flanking once again, just kind of able to choke their team in the mid lane and able to take down 3 members for none.
Yeah, Valpo Esports just needs. Valpo Esports hopefully is realizing just to keep playing, even though they had Baron, they got a little bit too aggressive, and I think got maybe a tiny bit sloppy with just their ways of keeping vision going. It is going to be very interesting to see how these upcoming levels work, as we are already seeing. Top lane on both teams is level 18. Final items is already, especially on Vayne's working on final item. So is Senna. People are working on, as they work on their final items. Obviously the amount of damage you're starting to do is starting to get capped. Senna's the only one who actually. Senna, obviously, whole gimmick is infinite stacking, so more stacks that Senna can get, the more potential that can be realized, especially as this game keeps going longer and longer. Senna is really turned out to be the one true victor of the longest game.
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell like who's actually favored in like a late game because Vayne is obviously extremely strong. Like you mentioned, Senna does infinitely scale. Victor scales has that stacking mechanic as well. But you know, Vayne and Syndra also has a stacking mechanic. So I mean, they're two very volatile, power punching teams. Going to be really scary. I think the goal is going to be once again, can Vayne really be free to spit out this damage, or can Victor do these like one shots, able to find like an E stun with an ultimate, something like that, because he's going to start doing a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Victor and Syndra both probably have already hit their all four of their abilities being stacked. Viego being a little bit deep in the jungle, and we do see the Jakimbo teleport in. Just interesting as we have about 20 seconds left, sending in some nice free misstacks as we see them going in for what is for Valpo Esports going to be Soul Point and extremely threatening if they are able to secure this dragon.
Yeah, so I mean this is big here. Do have Aatrox back in here, but we'll have TP up to utilize. Actually has TP down, excuse me. So Valpo Esports do have the Dragon up, and Aatrox is going to have to walk back. So do have River Prio, but gonna have to back out if Arkansas State does move up. Do have the super minions in mid lane, so Arkansas State could focus their attention there. But this Soul up, just gotta be careful of these Winions coming down. I mean, not Winions, but these minions could do a lot of damage to their Nexus turrets here. So probably want to look for a fight and do it sooner rather than later if they're gonna find one.
I was gonna say, I was like every second that no one chooses to do anything, Arkansas is actually getting the better trade from this just because of the super minions that Henry you mentioned earlier. Valpo Esports does actually have their bot side T1 turret still down, but someone will need to go respond to those minions as soon as possible. Otherwise, they are going to lose one of those two Nexus
Yeah,
turrets.
Arkansas State is perfectly fine waiting it out here. Don't have too much poke coming through. I mean, this turret's got to be falling low. Syndra finding the big stun. Will probably look for an engage. Maokai using ultimate. Aatrox diving the backline. Vayne is firing damage with her ultimate. Victor gets a shutdown on the Syndra. Aatrox getting a big 2 knockup. Vayne finding the kill on Steamroller. 4 for 4 right now. Vayne getting chunked out by the Victor, but Udyr doing so much damage, able to fend off 3 members by himself.
Which is enough to probably make this fight 3, which is enough to make this fight 3v3.
Bam Pow finds
Stun.
the kill on Maokai. Bam Pow very low. Oh, shutdown on the Senna, and this will be huge for Arkansas State. So do have Baron and Dragon up. Will turn their attention to one of these objectives. Looks like they're heading to Baron. And Valpo Esports, this Nexus turret is still up. I think they're just in a bad position there. Maybe they wanted to give the Drake there. Just didn't really have, when you're fighting that, you kind of want to be on the mid side of it just so you can clear that wave and have the mid prio. But having that inhibitor down just did a lot of work for Arkansas State. And Vayne able to play methodically, did have to use that flash, but able to live kind of through that entire thing, and did have the Bloodthirster to have that lifesteal as well. Meanwhile, I feel like I haven't talked about Udyr a lot recently, but kind of taking on 3 members at once and able to just like stay up and sustain was super huge just for him to be able to be that front line for his team while also putting out a lot of damage. So they will pick up the Baron and the Soul Point on top of it. So we are tied up 3 Drakes to 3 Drakes, and the gold lead is finally bouncing back to Arkansas State, up about 800 now.
Arkansas State and Valpo both making sure that each team fight, we are never going to know how it goes. It's just as depending on how it is. We do see some big ticket items. Every single one of Arkansas State finishing up a final item. We do see that Vayne had picked up LDR.
Apologies, spectator bug there.
We do see that Vayne had picked up Mortal. It's all good. Vayne picked up the Mortal Reminder for more heal cut. Realizes probably how strong it is. We do notice, I think, that honestly think that one of the biggest weaknesses right now for Beppo Esports is just the level disparity of Senna right now. Senna is level 14 going into a level 17 Vayne, and it's just so hard because even though Senna just needs the extra levels in order to, just for benefits, even though no attack damage is gained from her, but just every bit of XP helps, and Senna is very quickly falling behind on that XP game. I
Good
shouldn't even say
awareness
relative.
by Victor Jakimbo here. Being aware that those champions are there, probably cleared a ward before he came in there. But nonetheless, playing that very smart and probably will want to give this tier 3 turret at some point. Aatrox also splitting in bot lane here. Could find a tier 2, and Gragas is pushing in mid lane. So a little bit of a 4-1 for both teams here, but do have Aatrox in the bot lane, Gragas in the mid lane. Gragas could look for a potential flake under this tier 2 turret, but looks like he's just shoving mid. Maokai is responding mid lane. So 4 versus 3 pushing top here, and with Baron minions, that is definitely going to go for the first 4 turrets. Aatrox gonna opt to keep going for inhibitor turret here. Looks like he channeled his back for a split second, but decides to keep it going. I mean,
I mean,
solid wave clear. I mean, Victor has insane wave clear, so but Gragas does eventually back. Maokai probably going to rotate up to his top side. Will have ultimate to either peel or engage. And oh my goodness, Vayne absolutely one-shots Victor and kills the Senna as well. That is going to be bad news for Valpo Esports as the Baron is up. Aatrox is stuck in bot lane. Gragas, all he needs to do is keep him from backing. And this will likely be the end for game 2. Arkansas State in a really good spot. We'll pick up 2 inhibitors. Still have that Baron up. No waves yet, but we'll have this top wave coming in soon. I mean, Gragas, neither of these champions will kill each other for a very long time, and can also interrupt Aatrox's TP. So Valpo kind of stuck with these just a few members, as we do see that TP get stopped by Gragas ultimate. And the 4v2 will go down to the Vayne. Once again, Vayne finding another double kill. And Arkansas State able to close this one out in 42 minutes. So we are headed to game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
and as well, I was gonna say, disappointing loss from Valpo Esports, but Arkansas really showing why they made themselves into the quarterfinals after all. Really, the absolute star of the show was Udyr early game, but then transitioning to Vayne, and quite honestly, to my surprise, the Syndra, just being able to keep up with Jakimbo for the vast majority of the game and looking for really good executes, especially against Jakimbo towards mid-late game was super, super interesting, but also super detrimental to Valpo
Yeah, I
Esports.
think the unsung hero of this game is that Syndra. Just being able to keep pace with Jakimbo is huge. I mean, that's kind of what our bot lane is looking to do in this series. If you can keep pace, go even with their bot lane, I mean, we're definitely in a position to win, and that is what their mid laner did with Jakimbo in this game, finding a huge flank on that one team fight in the mid lane and just playing really well. And then Vayne. Definitely taking away this game with 56k damage. Has the most damage by like 20k. Jakimbo leading the way for Valpo with 35k. But I think that lead was really big. Valpo able to fight back, but just a couple mistakes in the late game, and mistakes in the late game can be huge for how the game like ends in result. Um, so, do you have any final thoughts on game 2?
I don't think so. I'm honestly really excited to see how Valpo Esports and Arkansas both play this third game because obviously all things all hold bars all take winner takes all in this last game. So we saw some comfort picks and we saw some more meta picks. So we're gonna probably see a good mixture of both in the third game. So we'll have to see it when it comes up in just a few minutes.
Yeah. Do you have any last adjustments you'd maybe like to see for Valpo going into game 3?
I think spec- I think what really hurt, as I kind of said earlier, was just the not good lockdown ability of any of them. Malcolm was really the only one who had really good engage disengage. Other than that, everyone else's ultimates are damage focused or their own survivability focused. And I think that's what really got Valpo Esports is just I really would like to see another one more sustain or one other way to engage disengage, even like a Milio if he was actually a lot better in the meta. But just ways to actually help the whole team. Just it's going to be interesting to see. But I think that Valpo Esports, specifically seeing what Akimbo and Dreadful pull up, is going to be really interesting. But obviously, don't let the other three of Valpo go unnoticed. Super Bear is also known, and Steamroller and Dikembe all have wonderful picks that we're going to hopefully see in this third and final game of this NECC
Yeah, I
quarterfinals.
think if we see the Viego again from Super Bear, it will be better this time around. But to be honest, I would like to see him transition to kind of a similar to Zach pick, something with some CC, a little tankier frontliner, because I feel like he really excels in that role. And then for our bot lane, I kind of see like revert back to like a Jinx, a Ezreal, something you can play back, have some more DPS, because the Senna's really feast or famine. I mean. You have farming Senna or starving Senna, but like feast or famine in the game, like sometimes she does really well, can like take away a game, and sometimes she's just like not super effective. And when you had all that anti-heal build for Arkansas State, like that healing didn't do too much. I mean, you had Aatrox who heals a lot too. Um, but I just felt like against the Vayne, like in late game, like it did not match up with the Vayne well. The Vayne like really took over. But I think the big thing, like you said, is like the ability to kind of have that lockdown, have that guaranteed CC on their ADC because in game one, like you had the Braum, you had the Zach. I mean, you had plenty of CC. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Really excited for draft. I'm really excited for game three. Match point for both teams, 1-1 in this best of three series in the NECC Challenger Division quarterfinals. But we will be right back after a short break. And we're back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 3 of Arkansas State versus Valpo Esports. And we are starting halfway through draft. Had to take a quick bathroom break for the players and then also for the production room. But we are switching it up. Do have the Hui mid lane coming through, which I love to see. The Syndra and Udyr are getting through again. Vayne is still open. Might see it banned in the 5th pick. What are your thoughts so far on this draft?
As I say, again, we were talking earlier about both comfort and meta, and I think we're seeing a really perfect example of that. Jikimbo's way is super comfortable, but also is meta for him. Braum and Jinx both good picks, but also they're comfort picks. We see the Milio pick as the final ban, so Vayne is
No,
online.
I said Vayne, but they actually have the Kog'Maw already picked, so I tripped you
Uh,
up there. Um, but I do like Valpo's bot lane going back to this Jinx Braum, really strong, and then the Hui pick mid. So far, liking this draft a lot for Valpo Esports. We'll have this Kog'Maw coupled with an Enchanter of some sorts, either the Nami or the Karma, most likely. I think that Syndra and Udyr worked really well for them in game two. Going back to it makes a lot of sense. And same bands for Valpo Esports in the first three. And same bands coming out against Valpo, that Zach and then the two mid laners. Do have a Soraka, ton of healing, ton of peel. Really strong pick. Not sure if it got nerfed today, but if it didn't, it probably should have because it was that strong last patch. So a very solid pick for them. But yeah, this phase two gonna be really interesting to see what they go with top lane and in the jungle here. Do have the Ornn, which just gives them, first of all, a very safe, good blind pick, but also just a lot of scaling, a lot of scaling potential with those items that come on at level 14 through 17. And we'll get this jungler pick. Um, Hui does a lot of damage, Jinx does a lot of damage, so don't necessarily need a damage carry. Zach's not open. Maybe you see a Volibear. Maybe you see. Not
Gary,
really sure. Viego
we
again.
do see. All right, we see the Viego again.
I like the confidence, saying it was a fluke game too. He's going to come back. I mean, like I said, he's been playing this pick a lot in games recently. It's been performing really well on it. So, I mean, I don't mind not going back to it. They do have a really good front line. They have Braum and Ornn already, a lot of tank. So, we'll have plenty of damage for this one with picking up that damage jungler. Um, And yeah, I feel like they do have the CC this time around because they do have the Ornn for CC, the Braum, and then Viego also has the W as well. And we'll see the Mordekaiser versus the Ornn. Mordekaiser, really good ultimate ability. Kind of puts you in this, I forget what it's called, like a little death zone or whatever
Yeah,
in a
Death Realm.
circle. And Mordekaiser can kind of 1v1 anyone in there. So you'll probably see him ulting the Viego when it comes to like objective fights and stuff to take away so they can kind of smite the objective without it being a contested 50-50 smite. And then late game, if they're able to get like close enough to the Hui or the Jinx, really good too. And could force out a QSS buy from these carry champions as the game goes on.
I was gonna say yeah, or Mercury Scimitar, if I remember correctly, for Jinx.
Yep.
Correct? Is also another way to for anti-suppression. But I was gonna say something that I was really hoping that we would see last game that we commented on in the end is seeing a lot more team fight helpful ults. Hui Ornn and Braum, all absolutely amazing. Hui with painting the world gold and making everyone slow and just doing tick damage to everyone, especially in the condensed area. I do think we have some of that with Arkansas, but really more specifically, there's just kind of the Soraka damage mitigation. Mord does 1v1, but that also takes Mord out of the equation. So if when Mord ults, it does leave them relatively squishy, especially leaving Udyr as the sole tank, because Sidra Kog'Maw and Soraka will all go down pretty quickly if any damage is focused on them for anything more than a second, especially mid to late game.
Conversely, if Mordekaiser gets that kill in the Delph Realm, comes out with a bunch of stats and does a ton of damage, kind of no matter how much gold or what his KDA is, kind of just goes crazy. um, but yeah, I really like Valpo Esports having this CC, having the front line, but also having the damage really well rounded comp. Arkansas State, kind of a similar idea. Instead of the Vayne going with the Kog'Maw, another Hypercale ADC. So seeing a very similar comp across the board, even though a couple different champions. Have that Mordekaiser, another AP top laner with some good utilization tools. and then having the Soraka in place of the Braum this time. So a little bit less CC, but in place we'll have that Mordekaiser and Udyr, and Syndra providing plenty of CC that they'll need. So I mean, I feel like once again the key: are they able to get on this Kog'Maw backline? Are they able to avoid the Mordekaiser ult? Syndra kind of this flank execution style. But I'm really hoping for a big game from Jakimo on this way. But we will see, and we will head to a short break for spectator delay. And welcome back to Game 3 of the NECC Challenger Division quarterfinals. Do have Valpo this time going with a 5-stack versus a 5-point. Do have Valpo on the blue side for the third game in a row. Looks like they're going to be headed to the spot bush. So we'll zoom out real quick here.
30 seconds
Oh,
until
sorry, wrong
minions
button.
spawn.
We'll
Watches.
potentially find this Kog'Maw. Looks like he's going to spot him out early enough. And gets the ward down.
Well, and just
Not able to ping the ward in time for the 5 gold. Big loss for Valpo Esports.
absolutely, it would be Jover at this point. We see Braum with Ignite this time, just keeping things a little bit spicy.
Minions have spawned.
Looking just to see for the rest of the sums. Just again, a ghost flash on Kog'Maw, just kind of bog standard.
Ghost and Lethal Tempo, both ADCs. Flash TPs all around mid and top. And then the Ghost on Udyr. That's pretty traditional. I'm pretty sure that's what he did in game 2 as well. Um, As far as items, standard across the board, Doran's items, defensive jungle items. Um, but yeah, pretty slow start to this one. Nothing exciting happening so far. Do have both junglers starting on this top side again, going to be playing towards bot. Mordekaiser looking for early trade. Once he procs this passive, will actually do a lot of damage and be a negative trade for the side of Valpo Esports. We'll see what bot decides to do if they're looking. Looks like Valpo's going for that early push, going to hit level 2 first. Do have Braum passive to proc. Um, but yeah.
Jinx walking into that Soraka. We see Hui and really Jakimbo specifically really taking their lead back in mid where they felt stronger. Yeah, Mordekaiser's just gonna be a really big pain all around until Ornn gets at least some sort of magic negation, just that shield, just the the passive just doing so much damage, especially early game. But
So
even with the wave crashing in terms of the CS, really not harming them too strongly one way or the other.
So Valpo with this early push will be able to get this vision down first on that deeper side in the tri-brush. So Udyr will be spotted out if he looks for a gank. Now, this was a vice versa position from game 2 where ASU's bot lane did have a push. I would really love to see Viego, once he gets his full clear done, to look for a lane gank here would be huge. They do have that ward down in the middle brush, but will be expired by then. So I feel like, if they kind of bait in this Udyr, which could happen, that they'll have the Viego there for a counter gank, could be huge. I mean, that'd be what I would do.
I would say I have to 100% agree. We're already looking and just seeing just some.
Yeah, got to be able to sneak in though before this wave starts pushing back. And it looks like he doesn't get his clear done in time to do that. Just a couple seconds late, but they do not have vision anywhere in these river. We'll have Udyr on that scuttle first. And looks like he's going to fight up, but ASU's bot lane might have prio here. We'll see. But mid lane prio also on ASU, so going to have to give up that scuttle crab. Viego smartly playing back, deciding to go up for that top scuttle crab and kind of just split it there. Udyr does get spotted out by the vision orb, going to clear the vision for Valpo's bot lane. Viego will get this top scuttled. ASU does have 2 wards down in the top river, so although we do see this push for a gank potential, probably won't be able to get it without being seen.
No, but something also just to very quickly point out was the QW from Hui actually forcing Syndra to flash and not get hit. But we do see that Viego is at least going to put some fake pressure on Mordekaiser, just back him off while Ornn's able to get that. But Hui really taking their lead and even being 10 CS up.
Syndra
and
already down at half health right after TPing back the lane is crazy.
I know Syndra with no summoners just being really, really risky. But we are seeing that Ornn's actually getting pretty low.
Mordekaiser does have flash here.
And I think something Ornn's really gonna have to watch out for is the fact that Mordekaiser's gonna be level 6 soon, and this also not only means that top pressure for Void Grubs is not as there, but also it's just so risky. Especially as you were saying earlier, just of how strong the Mord with 1 kill here, just with how skilled all these
this
players
Ornn does
are.
pick up the Bomby Cinder though, which is going to give him some more health. But Mordekaiser with a big shield, but with that Bomby Cinder purchase, will not be able to make that dive because I think he was able to before with that flash. But do have the first objective spawning. Looks like Udyr is already on this dragon while Void Grubs are yet to be taken. Top prio is in the favor of ASU and mid prio too. Hui just TPing back. But Viego looking mid will have flash up. We'll see if they get the slowdown and does have flash down. Do have Udyr coming up, but too late. Oh, and does reset the dragon too, which is huge. Gonna buy Valpo plenty of time to pick up these Void Grubs.
I was gonna say as soon as I saw that Viego was going in, I kind of just knew. I had a feeling that Syndra is just way. As soon as Syndra uses her W to either push her orbs or push away enemies, she has 0 way to disengage an enemy, and that was used on Hui, but that just meant Viego had a free time going in with a stun, and already dropping what was already looking like a pretty rough mid lane for Arkansas to an even tougher one, as we do see that Or just hope for fact when we see that Viego is able just to completely clear these white grubs in this situation. And Mordekaiser looks like instead of taking the TP, he's just going to take a walk back to top side.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Syndra has flash down, Viego flashing just to make sure he secures that stun on the Syndra was absolutely huge. The Dragon finally going down to ASU. We're spent a lot of time on it. But yeah, Valpo with a 1k gold lead with that kill and doing really well in CS across the board, specifically in that mid lane. And bot lane doing really well here. The only thing is this wave is now frozen while Kog'Maw is up in CS. Would probably like Viego to get down there if possible just to help break this freeze, but this freeze could lose a lot of XP and gold for the Jinx.
Which is, I was going to say, Jinx is already looking a little rough in terms of.
Jinx able to crash it though with their Q missiles.
Just doing absolute pure damage as we see the Bambis and also just the boots now, just making Ornn really able to kind of strafe the Qs that Mordekaiser was throwing down. But even with what I would say is negative or a more hurting matchup for Ornn. Ornn's keeping CS just at 3, but the wave is crashing in, so about even. Bot wave on bot side obviously looking a little bit stronger, but as we were saying earlier, bot side just a little bit. If bot side wins a tiny bit, that's still technically a win for Valpo Esports, as we realize that the gold lead is about 800 in favor of Valpo, about 500 of that going towards the kill. But even then, an extra 300 just because of the CS between the players.
You're getting a nice little trade there in the top lane. Top lane very uneventful so far. Had Mordekaiser winning a lot on some early trades, but not really turning into anything as the CS is practically even here with this wave shoving in. So doing a good job in top. Udyr will be resetting on the top side. Will be heading down to his blue buff, and Viego also finishing a clear for himself. Will probably be resetting. Also maybe looking towards this bot side, but then again, Void Grubs will spawn about a minute before the next dragon. So will not be Mountain Soul, will not be Cloud Soul. What's your soul guess for game 3?
Oh, soul guess. I'm gonna put bias. Instead of saying Hextech this time, though, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Infernal. I think just watching it go and watching the Cinders is just going to be absolutely so strong in terms of roam potential, just because of how fast the Cinders make you, but also just the free ability haste that you get from all of them. I think Jakimbo specifically would be one of the biggest benefiters, along with the Syndra, obviously.
I'm gonna guess Ocean Soul. Saw it in game 2. We'll probably see it again in game 3. In my experience, when you have one soul in like game 1, game 2, like you just keep getting it again over and over because it's League of Legends.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll check in on that in about 3-4 minutes once that dragon is finally taken. But Valpo keeping this gold lead, extending it a couple hundred actually, and Valpo's bot lane will reset here. Udyr down on the bot side here, just cleared his blue buff, his Gromp, and then his Raptors are up. Maybe looking to get some deep vision down here for this dragon that spawns in 2 minutes. Do have 3 members, probably looking for this Viego or the Raptors, but Viego is now gone and the Raptors are taken, but able to get a couple wards down here. Braum looks like he's making his way up there to clear out some vision way there as well. But do have 4 people down here, and Jinx is all alone. Jinx smartly playing very far back. This is great awareness by Valpo Esports. Jinx, do not walk up here. Dreadful, got to be careful. Got to avoid the temptation.
Oh.
And they get the warden, and they're not able to capitalize on it. So a lot of wasted time. Hui will get some plates, and Cinder will miss out on some CS, but do have to force out the TP there. So very lucky for Valpo Esport. Not lucky, I mean, that was just great awareness by Dreadful, great communication. I don't know why I said lucky. But Viego, in the meantime, is able to pick up these Void Grubs, being aware that 4 members are down there in the boss side. Udyr looking for a little bit of a flank on this way. Way pretty far up, does have flash available if needed. Greeds for that blade a little bit, gets the fear, able to have a little self-peel. Viego might be able to come up if he's able to.
Gonna be close. We do see the flash, and we do see the flea that's actually gonna make this, instead of looking like a
Viego could
turn into a 2v1.
Not sure if Viego got pinged out there, but we do have Jinx ultimate coming in. And it
just barely misses.
I wish the camera directed to it, but it just barely missed. Diego
top
looking
side
for a
play.
potential dive while he's taking these Raptors. No one will be there, however. And Hwei just getting more damage on this turret. Does have his Archangel staff completed. And Ornn trying to trade out. Mordekaiser not able to finish that first plate.
And that right there, folks, is really is really what I think a lot of people have realized about the benefits of Void Grubs. Almost always, especially the times that I played, almost always just magically feels like the plate has 3 extra health. That doesn't let me get the 125 or 66 gold if I'm playing as ADC or support. But Void Grubs right there would have been enough to take it. And with Valpo Esports having all 6 of them, we were able to see Hwei even gain a little bit of extra poke damage just purely because of the Void Grubs spawning and being able to take 2 extra turret
Yeah,
hits for him.
Ornn really low here. Got to be careful. Mordekaiser does have ultimate flash available. Also does have a big shield, so could maybe dive. Ornn does have a good amount of CC though, so could be scary for Mordekaiser as well. Opts to go for that play. I think that's probably the smart play. And this dragon is going to be taken here by ASU. Valpo not really in position to contest. And we will have an Infernal Soul. You were correct.
I called it. Let it be known. Infernal Soul is probably I would say most competitively good. I know that Hextech is interesting with the teleport waypoints, but you can't go wrong with some good old Cinders, and especially Hwei looking to extend their 50 CS and kill lead. Just has to take a few, and we'll be at bot lane before you would know it.
Yeah, so we'll have a little extra visual clutter in game 3 here with these Cinders. Gives the champions a little bit of stats. Oh, we're not able to stop that reset there. But kind of works a little bit similar to Bard Chimes. At least how they spawn and how they work, and they give you stats. So, I mean, essentially just Bard Chimes for everybody. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I would rather have the 6 Void Grubs than the 2 Dragons. It's kind of the same situation as game 1. You just have to be aware that like you need to contest either this 3rd or 4th drag, ideally the 3rd one. And Valpo is definitely in position to do that with a 2k gold lead, and you know, with a lot of summoners and all their ultimates up. Very slow-paced game. Valpo really, I think, excels in these slower games. Are just more comfortable when they can really direct the pace of the game. You saw in game 2 it was a little bit of a slugfest, a little crazy, but you know they're right at home here with just 1 kill 15 minutes into the game.
As I say, just some quick skirmishes. We do see that our Arkansas really just kind of chooses to take some heat in the river instead of really pushing for plates. Kog'Maw and Soraka going in. We do see Hwei absolutely going ham, but he is under tower. Chikimbo does have to watch out, just make sure that his positioning is in a way that even if he's stuck in Death Realm, that tower hits will still hit.
Yep.
Ooh,
And do have this
Chikimbo.
Rift Herald up. Do have 3 members from each side kind of up there, positioned around it. Hwei getting Mordekaiser extremely low, but not able to find the kill. Hwei does have TP, no ultimate for this one to make it a 5v4 if possible. Do see the TP coming through. Brown
see the
Proc
Ornn
will get the
ult.
Syndra.
Or not specifically for the Kog'Maw.
And Jinx is going to get excited pretty low here. Ornn, oh, almost a huge knockup. Do have the TP coming in from Mordekaiser here. Death Realm is on cooldown. Do have several members low for Valpo Esports. Got to be really careful here.
And Valpo Esports doing exactly that. Valpo Esports, I think, really realized.
Oh! And
Valpo.
Mordekaiser, he accidentally used his E before the flash came out, so he had the shorter range on it. That could have been huge for ASU, but I feel like they'll have priority here for this Rift Trail. A lot of members really low, so got to be careful. Udyr going in is getting chucked down. Ornn with a massive knockup finds 2 members. Soraka ult comes out. Ornn finding the kill on the Udyr. TP from Syndra coming in. Got that
And we
respawn.
started to have the resets.
Diego getting resets. Mordekaiser does have Death Realm up. Gets the way in there. Hwei,
But
Jakimbo
not
able to
enough.
1v1 the Mordekaiser in Death Realm, and that is a total of 4 kills for Valpo Esports, and they will take a 4k gold lead and secure this Rift Herald. Absolutely massive play for Valpo Esports.
I was going to say just the very fact that Jakimbo had absolutely forced Mordekaiser to respond at least 10 seconds later, which was quite honestly the thing that did Arkansas in for this Rift Herald. But Jinx, Dreadful, completely realizing the fact of, even while being low, taking the fruits as soon as there was a quick blow in the action, just being able to absolutely decimate the team and to get excited stacks is good. I maybe would have liked to just see Ornn finish that topside turret and get the extra gold, but obviously, I guess Ornn might know something I don't. But we're just gonna see as Jinx just kind of pokes against the Soraka here, just some free gold. But we're gonna have some backs with some very impactful items, especially for Valpo Esports.
Yeah, so do have that Infernal Dragon coming up in a minute. Valpo in a great position to contest it if they want to. Ornn does have TP up here while Mordekaiser has TP down. So both of them being in the top lane is definitely good for Valpo. Do have Udyr resetting for it. ASU definitely has vision control here of the dragon. But Valpo will be pushing into the river here coming a couple 10-20 seconds. And we'll try to maintain vision so they can kind of have river prow. But I mean, I feel like if you're ASU, you probably want to give this one up.
I was gonna say, I almost think you have to. Everyone that's gonna be fighting is at the very least traded or negative. The Super Bear ahead of the Udyr by a significant margin. Kimbo absolutely on top of the Syndra and is noticing even in the terms of right now, even in terms of mana. While Jinx is down in CS, again, that extra kill that they were able to pick up during that team fight helps to bridge that gold gap. And between Soraka doesn't have first item yet, while Braum does. Locket of Eye and Solari really helping to be like a Soraka-like use of it. But we are going to see the Rift Herald being dropped as Valpo Esports looks to take the mid-tier 1, and they do with the Rift Herald. How much further they go in, we will see. We see Jakimbo just throwing out some QWs just for fun. Rift Herald will not, but we will see that Udyr uses Smite. But this now means that Valpo Esports is able to go for Dragon with at least next 13 seconds of no worry about Smite, but it looks like we're going to have just a little bit longer delay for that.
Yeah, I think you used that smite. I mean, they have no plan of contesting this dragon. Aren't really in position for it. Mordekaiser still has teleport down, still in that top lane. And they are working towards vision on this top side. Baron coming up in 2 minutes, and fourth dragon will be coming up in 5 minutes here.
I have to say, this game looking a lot better for Valpo Esports, especially the early and mid game. I know we were worried last time about them possibly not doing so even with their tempo being rocked. We are going to see the flash and the smite, and we're going to see if it's going to be enough.
Ooh, this is both W's, unfortunate. But Syndra having to blow the flash there. Diego using flash as well, but Syndra able to get out.
Yeah, Syndra being very unaware of their spacing. We are noticing that Ornn is really, especially now that Ornn has the magic resistance mask, really strong right now. Just being able to counter Mordekaiser in almost every way right now. And I think Ornn, as soon as he clears this wave, might actually be able to take tier 1 of the topside turrets.
Yeah, I think if you're Ornn here, you kind of just want to be in the solo lane as much as possible, even though you do provide a lot in team fights. He's been there when they've needed them, but almost hitting level 14 where he will have those item upgrades. Way doing a ton of damage and able to find this solo kill on Syndra. Jakimbo improving to 3-0 now with a 450 gold shutdown, hitting that ultimate, able to finish off the kill, and Syndra is down once again.
And I was gonna say again, even though the Viego and Syndra both had the trade flashes, Jakimbo was fully aware of that, was able to capitalize on the fact that he knew his ult was gonna hit, and you throw a QQ on top, you throw the Fireball, or I guess Ice Ball in terms of like Winter Blast, and not only much Syndra can do being slowed and taking half of her health bar with every waking second.
So Valpo up to a 6k gold lead now, and finding that other turret will actually be 6k now. It was about 5.5. Baron spawning now, 3 minutes till Dragon's up. Do have some trades coming out in the top lane. Ornn takes absolutely no damage. Mordekaiser does do a lot of damage over time though, so maybe eventually, but pretty even trade. Both champions dropping low. This fight has been going on forever. Do have 3 members rotating up to the top lane. Ornn will be silenced, gonna have to flash away. Does have ultimate up though if he does want to look to turn on them, but Braum and Jinx decide not to. Way heading up to that top lane to cover the turret for them, and Braum and Viego are gonna be here to stop the turret.
And again, just some more light poking action, but with the Hui and Jinx, just the absolute amount of wave clear that they have. Jinx with the ultimate, I'm pretty sure thinking that the team was at least going to go in for a little bit. Just misses, but it's fine. But the turret, unfortunately, turret was destroyed. Just making this, again, just continuing to keep this game more and more interesting. We see the ultimate come in.
Oh,
we see the
ultimate.
Soraka. We see the Soraka heal and flash, but unfortunately, Hui's ult just is a Hui's ult is a perfect lock on.
Yeah,
So
those were some wasted summoner spells, wasted ultimates there for ASU. Not great discipline there. You know, when you're dead, have that ult locked on you. Not really much use in using everything there. And they will pick up this Baron relatively for free here. And Ornn has his first item online. So far a perfect game for Valpo Esports other than that turret that just fell in the bot lane a couple minutes ago. But playing very slow, methodically, having very few mistakes, and just playing sound, good League of Legends all around.
I say I think Valpo Esports really realized the threat of just kind of taking too much for granted, and every time that they're able to win even just a tiny bit, they accept that tiny bit of a win and they walk away with it. Right now you can see up about 7.5k gold. Dragon will be spawning in soon, and Valpo Esports has just been taking the game kind of slow. Even though they have Baron, they're not looking for any huge push, and it looks like they're going to trade probably tier 1 topside turret for Dragon. But unfortunately, for everyone watching, this is I have a late night meeting I have to get to, so I will be leaving our wonderful Henry here with maybe to end, maybe as a little bit of a goodbye gift. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a kill for the Mordekaiser quite yet, but tier 1 turret is going down. But I wish Valpo Esports, and I wish a good game onto both sides as we end what will be, no matter what this game is, the response to the end of the quarterfinals of the NECC.
Yeah,
So,
thanks Adam for joining us. We'll see you next time.
no problem. Thank you guys all, and see you in the Rift.
But thanks to everyone for sticking around in this long Game 3 series in the quarterfinals of the NECC Challenger Division. Big game here. Do see Valpo taking their second drag of this game, another Infernal drag. But yeah, Valpo in a really good spot. Still has this Baron to utilize. Going to try and get this bot tier 2 turret if possible. But these Ornn items are starting to come online. Looks like he's crafted another one for Hui here, maybe. But Valpo with a 7k gold lead now, and with these 6 Void Grubs going to do a lot of work for them, able to get another tier 2 turret in the bot lane. 5 turrets taken. Will also get some damage down on this mid one. I mean, there's so much damage with this Baron buff and with the 6 Void Grubs. But yeah, ASU really struggling to clear the waves here with all this pushing happening. But Valpo, I mean, doing really solid. Like I said, up 7 kills to none. Not really much ASU can do here. They're slowly kind of getting choked out of this game. Gonna look for an engage. Cinder able to find one. Udyr going for the stun. Ornn ultimate will come through. Jinx gets burned down really low. A lot of healing coming out from this Soraka. Able to finally kill the Udyr. Transform into Udyr. Ornn finds a kill on this Syndra. Super Bear finds a trade kill on the Udyr. And Kog'Maw gets a shutdown on this Ornn. Kog'Maw absolutely spitting damage here. Viego gonna drop really low. Wade not really in position to get a lot of damage out, but now he's here. Wade does have ultimate down. Soraka dropping really low from healing the entire team, but do have a 2-for-2 trade in this team fight. So ASU getting on the board here with some big shutdowns on the Ornn. Potential shutdown on the Jinx as well. Jinx finally having that upgraded Infinity Edge, and Jakimbo finding the kill on the Mordekaiser, having great vision in that jungle, and face checking unfortunately goes bad for Mordekaiser. So Jakimbo is now 5-0-1 with 230 CS on this way. Has a 700 gold shutdown, 3.5 items completed, does pick up that Dark Seal as well, might turn into a Magi's later. But this was kind of the mid lane we were hoping for here in Game 3. Just absolute monster game from Jakimbo so far. We'll have this post 20 minutes red buff that gets split among all 5 team members here for both teams. Next objective coming up is Baron in 2 minutes with that Infernal Soul Point for both teams here coming up in 2:30. Valpo will be directing their attention to this red side jungle, and we'll be getting the vision down there for Baron. Valpo in great position to take this tier 2 top turret. Trying to get some poke out. Play does have some great poke, long range damage that can come out from him. ASU kind of just stuck with all 5 members under this turret. Looks like Quave may rotate mid to pick up this wave along with Jinx. Might turn their attention towards the mid lane inhibitor. And ASU getting some pings for this mid inhibitor as Valpo does have 4 members here. Looks like they might want to take a fight if Mordekaiser is able to get there before the Ornn. Kog'Maw does have 2.5 items now. In that last fight, we saw that lethal tempo and Ghost just doing some crazy work, getting a lot of DPS out for the side of ASU. Ornn items coming through on Viego as well. Surprised we haven't seen an Ornn item on Hui. Maybe doesn't have a mythic yet. Not super familiar with the new item changes in this season. But Hui dropping Cinder extremely low, just to under 100 health. Will have to get healed up by this rock and is back in right next to the fountain. Maybe a little closer just to walk back, but Dreadful has destroyed the inhibitor. Also, this top tier 2 turret goes down. Ornn pushing in with these little void grubs going in, but they have turned their attention to this Baron that is spawning just now. And Valpo in great position to pick up this Baron, and not only the Baron, but also this Soul Point Dragon that's coming up as well. So Valpo, very similar situation in game 1 here. Kind of just playing it very slow, methodically, able to pick up this Baron. Will get a couple resets, head straight to this Dragon, and just in really good position in this game, up 11k gold. So Ornn's still splitting this top side at level 16, almost level 17, so we'll have upgrades for all the members for this final push here into the red team's base. And Soul Point Dragon goes down, so that is 3 Infernal Drakes. We do have 3 members up here, do have Udyr, 4 members actually. Does get Mordekaiser ulted. Honestly, not sure if that's the best idea, other than maybe keeping him there longer. But eventually will go down to Mordekaiser there. But 4 for 1, and Valpo is looking to try and sneak this bot turret real quick. Ornn was slightly out of position, just knowing they're on Dragon. Was able to find the kill on him, but we'll see if they're able to get this turret with the Baron. Oh my goodness, does so much damage with the Void Grubs. Wait, getting so much damage down. Soraka having to use ultimate there, getting it forced out there. Wait, just does crazy amounts of damage here. Able to get this second inhibitor down, it looks like. You have Cinder getting the stun on the Hui. Hui having to flash out, good reaction time there. Cinder dropping pretty low, does have 3 Braum stacks, won't find the kill. Viego going into ghost mode. 5 champs, both alive on both sides here for both teams. Will look like we will have some backs resets in for Valpo. So we take a quick peek at the items. We'll probably have some Ornn completions coming through here on the mid laner Hui here. Once he picks up a mythic. But anyways, next objective is Baron in 4 minutes, Dragon in 3:30. Honestly, not sure if they even need to wait for this soul or if they'll want to wait for this soul. Do have the Braum upgrade going on the sport here. Jimbo still not having a mythic item completed yet. So, honestly, probably could end this game playing a 1-3-1 here, but safe option would also be waiting for Dragon. I feel like ASU doesn't really outscale Valpo in this situation, and they're a really good spot. It's only 30 minutes, so we'll see what they decide to do here. Opting for a 1-3-1 push style. Do have Hui and Ornn in the side lanes here. Valpo with the opportunity to advance to the semifinals in the NECC Challenger Division playoffs here. Up 10k gold. Embarking on their final push. Last inhibitor turret has a big targets on its back right now. Do have the wave coming in. Baron going down. Here's a big fight. Hui getting an absolutely massive ultimate. Ornn ultimate coming out as well. Mordekaiser going to be stuck. Going to get stunned up. And Braum having that wall. Great peel for the Jinx. Just getting a lot of damage out. No kills going over yet. Mordekaiser gets knocked up in the air. Will get the ultimate onto Ornn, kind of just to save himself there. Valpo will be slow and kind of wait for Mordekaiser to come out of this. Will eventually find the pick on him. Dikembe ends up finding the kill. Jinx get excited, turns into Mordekaiser for Viego. And I only have 4 members here. Do have some decent wave clear, but Jinx doing so much damage with that long-range shot, rocket on the Udyr. Gonna force them back into Fountain, and Valpo is taking down 1 next turret, 2 next turret. Hwei doing a whole bunch of damage, and it looks like Valpo is going to take it versus Arkansas State University in the NECC Challenger Division quarterfinals, and they will advance to the semifinals in 2 weeks from today. And Valpo, just with a clean game overall, up 12k gold. Don't need the Infernal Soul whatsoever. I mean, great all around, great performance. Able to really take a step back, lock in for game 3. We had Jakimbo on the way, who really kind of had that all-star performance that he really needed for his team, going 5-0-4, having a ton of damage. Viego really making a statement in game 3, having game 2 not doing so well on the Viego, able to go 3-1-5 in game 3. And Jakimbo doing his job, 2-1-6. Played very solid, very few mistakes, and just getting the job done for the bot lane support duo. And then Ornn, Steamroller, just getting those items, playing safe in lane, went 3-2 versus 1-3. So very solid game for Valpo Esports. Really excited for this team headed into semifinals, and they will have a tough task facing the winner of the 1-8 seed in 2 weeks from today. NECC playoffs is off for Easter, so we will see you guys in 2 weeks for the League of Legends game. Also, tomorrow we have Varsity Overwatch in the NECC playoff quarterfinals Challenger Division. Friday we also have Varsity Rocket League in the same game, quarterfinals NECC playoffs. Then Saturday we have a full slate for you, so we'll see you guys next time, and thanks for tuning in.